네, 안녕하세요. 다시 인사드리겠습니다. 2020 국제기구 마이스 커리어페어의 사회를 맡은 아나운서 김서연입니다. 반갑습니다. 지금까지 또 교수님들의 미래 마이스 산업에 대한 강연과 마이스 전문가분들의 채용 멘토링까지 함께하면서 정말 많은 유익한 정보를 얻어가셨을 텐데요. 이제 이어지는 순서에는요, 또 유익한 시간이 될 거라 자신 있게 이야기 드릴 수 있습니다. 그동안 마이스 기업 기관 대비 채용에 대한 정보를 정말 얻기가 힘들었던 국제기구 NGO 진출 설명회 시간이 남아 있는데요. 많은 국제기구 NGO 기관들이 실제로 어떤 활동을 하고 있고 진출하기 위해서 어떤 준비를 하고 있는지 실제적인 정보를 얻을 수 있는 시간이니까요. 집중해서 봐주시기 바랍니다. 그럼 국제기구 NGO 진출 설명회 바로 시작하겠습니다. 국제재난경감을 목적으로 개설된 UNDRR 유엔재해위험경감동북아사무소 산자야 바티야 소장님입니다.
Welcome to this session on introduction to UNDRR Getty in the United Nations. So I have a brief PowerPoint for you to share this introduction. As you know, the Office for Northeast Asia and the Global Education and Training Institute is based in Songdo, in the G Tower in Incheon, and we are supported both by the Incheon Metropolitan City and the Ministry of the Interior and Safety. First, let me introduce what is UNDRR. So UNDRR is the United Nations Office for Disaster Risk Reduction, and it was established in 1999. Currently, it is the custodian for the Sendai Framework for Disaster Risk Reduction, which is a 15-year global framework which aims to make the world safer through disaster risk management. Now, since 2010, the UNDRR Office for Northeast Asia and Global Education Training Institute has been established here in Incheon with the help of the Incheon Metropolitan City and the Ministry of Interior and Safety, with the objective of creating a cadre of professionals in disaster risk reduction and climate change adaptation for resilient societies. So the basic aim is to make cities and countries safer. So we work through helping the governments develop what we call DRR strategies. At the same time, here in Incheon, we are also the global hub for a global Making Cities Resilient campaign. And since our operations began till the end of 2019, we have trained more than 8,000 officials, civil servants from 149 countries. We survey these people regularly to understand what has been the impact, and half of them say that they are better able to engage in development of a local plan or strategy, and more than 40% are involved in developing a national strategy. So that is the impact of the work. It is very much global. The key areas where we do the training is, of course, with the national and local governments. We introduce a number of tools which are easy to use, and we make them available in all languages. And these tools include what we call the scorecard. There are tools to help make the health system resilient, which is so much relevant today with this COVID-19 crisis. There are programs to help schools adopt safety measures and to introduce the concepts of reducing disaster risk to school children and to teachers. And similarly, there are programs for the private sector to help them understand how they can contribute to making countries more resilient. We do this through a number of means, including, of course, the trainings, which are face-to-face in our office in G Tower. We also do webinars and online training, and we conduct DRR retreats for government officials as well as UN country team officers in other countries. And we promote the use and application of technology for DRR. These are some pictures of our training program. You can see with school children, with government officials, and others. Now, coming to the career part. So in the UN, jobs are possible in two main streams. One is the generalist stream, and the other is the specialist stream. So the generalist stream can be in the secretarial works or in the peacekeeping forces or administrative tasks. And the specialist could be managerial or technical. Usually for a UN job, you at least need a bachelor's degree, and advanced degrees are helpful. And also knowledge and fluency of at least one of these languages. English, French, Arabic, Chinese, Spanish, or Russian. These are known as the 6 UN languages. You must be fluent in at least one. I put the links here for the website for the careers, so you can go there and find more information, and also the website where you can apply for different jobs in the United Nations. There are a number of categories of staff in the United Nations. There is a young professionals program for which many of you would be eligible. There are competitive examinations for language professionals, means people who are fluent in one of those languages which I mentioned and can help in interpretation and translation work. There's a general services test. There's a junior professional officer program, which is known as the JPO program. I'll talk about that in a while. There are volunteer programs, internship programs. There are often temporary jobs in the UN system, and there are always vacancies for consultants. Now, most countries do conduct a national competitive recruitment examination. So Korea is one of the countries where this is held once a year. The idea is to create a roster of candidates for the young professionals program. And you need at least the first level university degree, which means you must have a bachelor's degree, and age should not be more than 32 years old. You can find out more information in the link which I have provided. The Junior Professional Officer Program, or JPO program, is meant to support the implementation of the Sustainable Development Goals and other global agenda, including the Sendai framework. JPOs are normally sponsored by the donor countries. So the country which is sponsoring the JPO program would sponsor nationals of their own country. The areas of qualification usually include subjects like political science, social science, law, human rights, program management, public administration, economic affairs, environmental affairs, and gender affairs. You should look at this program, and you can find more details in the link I have sent to you in this slide. And with that, I want to end my presentation. As you see, we are here in Songdo in the G Tower, which is here in the photograph. We are on the 4th floor. Please feel free to contact us if you want to know more information on career at the UN, or if you want to know more about ONIE and Getty. Thank you.
이어서 동북아의 무역, 교통, 환경 문제, 개발 협력 등을 위한 UNESCAP 유엔아태경제사회위원회 동북아사무소 하예진 님입니다.
안녕하세요. 반갑습니다. 저는 방금 소개해 주신 것 같이 UN 아시아 태평양 경제사회위원회 에스캅이라는 곳에서 근무하고 있는 하예진이라고 합니다. 지금 저는 거기서 프로그램 담당을 하고 있고요. 네. 제가 듣기로 전에 저희 동료가 같이 에스캅에서 일하고 있는 동료가 오늘 참여를 해주셨다는 걸로 알고 있어요. 그래서 뭐 기관 소개라든지 뭐 유엔에 대한 전반적인 소개는 빨리 넘어가도록 하겠습니다. 네, 그래서 저희 기구에 대해서 간략하게 말씀드리면 저희는 아까 말씀드린 아시아태평양 경제사회위원회의 동북아사무소입니다. 지금 2010년에 원래 동북아사무소 본부가 방콕에 있는데요. 이제 아시아태평양 지역이 워낙에 넓어요. 제일 큰 지역사무소이고 63개 그 회원국을 갖고 있는 가장 넓이로 쳐도 가장 크고 인구로 쳐도 가장 큰 지역사무소이기 때문에 이제 그 회원국들을 어떻게 하면 조금 더 가깝게 저희가 같이 사업을 하고 이제 중요한 논제를 의논할 수 있을까라는 고민을 하다가 UN 총회에서 그러면 이제 에스캅은 지역사무소를 만들자. 그러니까 지역사무소의 또 지역사무소인 거죠. 그래서 저희 이제 동북아 지역사무소가 생겨나게 됐고요. 그래서 저희 동북아시아 지역사무소가 있고 동남아시아 지역사무소가 있고 뭐 중앙아시아 지역사무소, 뭐 아세안 지역사무소 그리고 또 그 태평양에 있는 이제 섬나라들을 담당하고 있는 지역사무소 그렇게 5개 지역사무소가 생기게 됐는데 저희는 그래서 회원국이 6국입니다. 남한, 북한, 중국, 몽골, 러시아, 일본 이렇게 6국을 담당하고 있고요. 저희도 G타워 인천에서 저희에게 서포트를 해주셔서 인천에 있습니다. 그래서 저희 사무소에서 하고 있는 사업 내용은 저희가 끝에 영상을 통해서 소개해드리는 걸로 하고요. 이제 본격적으로 어떻게 하면 유엔에 지원을 해서 일을 할 수 있나 이 질문에 대해서 답을 하도록 하겠습니다. 네, 첫째, 어디에 지원을 해야 하나요? 라는 질문을 들었는데 그 질문에 대한 답은 일단 그 유엔이라는 거대한 국제 기구의 조직을 먼저 이해를 조금 하셔야 되는데 유엔은 크게 3개 다른 성격의 기구들로 이루어져 있어요. 첫 번째는 사무국이고 우리가 흔히 Secretariat이라고 하는 사무국이고 그 다음에 Funds and Programs라고 하는 그런 기구들이 있고 그 다음에 Specialized Agency라는 기구들이 있습니다. 이 기구들이 뭐 어떻게 보면 이게 지금 이제 그 기구들이 어디에 속해져 있나 하는 자세한 이제 도표인데 이거를 사실 이해하기란 저도 지금 유엔에서 일한 지가 10년이 넘었지만 잘 이해하지 못하는 부분들이 있어요. 근데 크게 말하자면 이 기구들이 기본적으로 펀딩이 어디서 오는가 그리고 이 기구들을 거버닝하는 그런 구조가 어떻게 되어 있나에 따라서 이제 나눠지게 됩니다. 근데 크게는 어쨌든 Secretariat 안에는 본부 우리가 흔히 뉴욕에 있는 본부를 떠올리시면 그게 이제 Secretariat이고 이제 주로 하는 일이 이제 회원국들을 서포트하는 역할을 하고 있습니다. 그래서 본부 산하 밑에 이제 아까 말씀드렸던 에스캅 또는 뭐 그 에스콰 뭐 기타 이제 지역 사무소들이 있고요. 그 다음에 Funds and Programs인데 예를 들어서 뭐 UNEP 환경기구라든지 뭐 헤비텟 이런 기구들은 본부의 그러니까 Secretariat의 행정적인 지원을 받고 있어요. 그래서 이들은 그러니까 Funds and Programs의 일부는 본부에서 그 채용 과정을 맡아서 진행을 하는 Funds and Programs가 있고 그렇지 않은 펀드 앤 프로그램스가 있습니다. 그래서 그 부분은 관심이 있는 기구가 어떻게 지금 채용을 하고 있는지를 확인해 보셔야 되는 그런 과정이 있습니다. 그리고 스페셜라이즈드 에이전시는 무조건 Secretariat 밖에, 그러니까 자체적인 채용 절차를 통해서 지원을 채용하고 있습니다. 그래서 먼저 어떻게 처음에 UN이라는 국제기구에 발을 들일 수 있는가라는 그 질문에 대해서 크게는 이제 세 가지의 엔트리 포인트가 있는데요. 첫 번째는 이제 인턴십 아니면 뭐 컨트랙터라고 하는 이제 계약 그 어떤 사업에 한해서 그 사업을 진행할 수 있는 컨설턴트를 뽑는 경우가 있어요. 그래서 인턴십하고 컨설턴트는 이제 외부, 그러니까 직원이라고 하지 않고 이제 외부 계약이라고 보시면 되고요. 여기서 인턴십은 ILO를 뺀 UN은 무급 인턴입니다. 그래서 최소 2개월에서 뭐 6개월 보통 많이 이제 인턴십을 하시는데 이게 이제 보통은 뭐 해외에 나가셔서 인턴십을 하시는 경우도 많이 계실 텐데 그래서 이게 이제 재정적으로 사실은 많이 부담이 되는 거는 사실이에요. 근데 저는 이 인턴십을 만약에 청소년 여러분들이고 아직 유엔에 대해서 막연히 뭐 어떤 곳일까라는 생각을 하고 있는 부분이라면 꼭 해보시라고 추천을 드리고 싶어요. 뭐 인턴십을 무조건 뭐 지원한다고 되는 건 아니지만 어쨌든 최대한 인턴십은 굉장히 기회가 많기 때문에 최대한 많이 알아보셔서 지원을 해보시라고 말씀드리고 싶어요. 그 이유는 제가 좀 이따가 다시 설명드릴게요. 그리고 이제 이거는 공채인데 YPP, Young Professional 프로그램이 있고 그 다음에 Junior Professional 프로그램이라는 게 있어요. 그래서 YPP와 JPO인데 YPP는 쉽게 말하자면 UN 공채, 대입 공채라고 생각하시면 될 것 같고 JPO는 각 정부에서 각 나라 정부에서 그 재정적인, 그러니까 쉽게 말하면 월급에 대한 이제 서포트를 100% 해주고 우리나라의 인재인데 유엔으로 진출을 시키고 싶다. 그래서 이렇게 보내주는 역할을 하는 그런 프로그램을 통해서 이제 유엔으로 들어오시는 경우도 많이 있습니다. 국내에서는 특히 그러니까 YPP라는 제도가 해마다 인원을 뽑진 않아요. 그러니까 이거에 대해서 좀 더 깊게 설명을 드릴 텐데 해마다 뽑지 않는 단점을 보완하기 위해서 JPO 제도를 통해서 해마다 어쨌든 한국 국적의 국민들이 해외에 있는 UN 기구로 진출할 수 있도록 도움을 주는 제도입니다. 그래서 예전에는 사실 외교부에서 직접 그 시험을 통해서 JPO를 뽑으셨는데 이제는 그 제도가 바뀌어서 UN의 JPO 자리로 특정되어서 나오는 자리들이 있는데 그 자리로 이제 이러한 포스트들이 다 JPO 자리다라는 거를 이제 정부에서 받으면 그거를 이제 포스팅을 하면 이제 개개인이 지원을 해서 합격이 되는 경우 정부에서 지원을 하는 제도로 바뀌었습니다. 그리고 마지막으로는 가장 넓은 문이라고 할 수 있는 그러니까 이제 중간에 들어오는 경력직 채용이 있습니다. 유엔이 저는 사실 제가 공채 출신인데요. 유엔이 어떻게 보면 조금 공채 출신한테는 좋지 않은 게 제가 유엔에 대학교 졸업하고 대학원 졸업하고 들어갔는데 뭐 연한이 찼다고 승진을 시켜주지 않아요. 그러니까 한국에서 기업 같은 경우에는 뭐 몇 년이 되면 대리로 승진하고 몇 년이 지나면 과장으로 승진하고 이러한 제도가 있잖아요. 근데 유엔의 경우는 모든 공석이 발생하는 경우 다 내부 외부 상관없이 경쟁을 통해서 그 자리가 채워지게 돼요. 그래서 이제 내부 유엔에 이미 직원이라고 해서 전혀 어떤 어드밴티지가 없어요. 그래서 심지어는 요즘 같은 경우에는 내부 승진, 외부 승진 정확하게 비율은 모르겠지만 외부 승진이 그러니까 외부에서 바로 들어오시는 경우가 상당히 많은 걸로 알고 있어요. 그 이유는 그리고 이제 높은 자리로 올라갈수록 또 외부에서 오시는 분들이 많은데 그 이유는 이제 유엔에서도 유엔에서만 있던 사람보다는 외부에서 어떤 새로운 경험이나 경력을 가지고 뭐 요즘 이제 어떤 이노베이션 이런 게 굉장히 중요하고 뭐 체제를 변화시키고 이제 저희도 이제 뭐 이렇게 도태되는 그런 거를 벗어나기 위해서 많이 외부에서 인재를 영입하고 있는 추세라고 볼 수 있습니다. 그래서 이 경력직이 사실은 가장 문도 넓고 또 가능성이 높은 부분입니다. 그러면 유엔에 입사를 어떻게 준비해야 할까요? 먼저 자기 자신을 잘 알아야 돼요. 그러니까 유엔에서 나오는 공채 그 job 오프닝을 보면 공채가 아니라 그러니까 그 공석 채용하는 그런 오프닝을 보면 되게 자세하게 적혀 있거든요. 뭐 어떤 일을 할 것이고 뭐 어디에서 일을 해야 할 것이고 뭐 어떤 경우에는 이제 기한도 정해져 있고 그래서 내가 과연 이 나라에서 이런 일을 할 수 있을지에 대한 정확한 이해와 분석이 필요합니다. 그래서 저 같은 경우에는 처음에 제가 유엔에 입사를 했을 때 아프리카 케냐에서 3년 동안 일을 했는데 저는 제가 뭐 케냐면 사실 아프리카에서는 뭐 상당히 발전된 곳이고 그렇게 뭐 힘든 듀티 스테이션이 아니에요. 근데 제가 아무런 준비가 없이 태국에 아니 저 케냐에 도착을 했는데 저는 약간 놀랐어요. 아 이런 부분들은 뭐 예를 들어서 병원에 가는 문제라든지 뭐 치안의 문제라든지 그러니까 제가 운전을 했는데 2번인가 제 차에 있는 이 그 거울 있잖아요. 백미러를 그냥 어떤 분이 지나가면서 딱 떼가는 거예요. 그래가지고 되게 놀랬고 뭐 근데 이런 사건 사고가 끊이지 않고 일어나요. 그러니까 치안이 상당히 안 좋은 곳인데 저는 그런 사전 지식을 전혀 모르고 갔죠. 그래서 사실은 한 2년 3년 지나니까 조금 여기를 떠나고 싶다라는 생각이 들더라고요. 그래서 저는 뭐 다른 곳으로 이제 지원을 해서 옮겼는데 어쨌든 그런 부분들을 이제 잘 아셔야 되고 내가 이런 곳에서도 잘 적응하고 살 수 있는 사람인지 아닌지 그리고 뭐 여러 가지를 고려해서 뭐 지원을 하고 생각을 해보시는 게 중요할 것 같습니다. 그래서 이제 이게 아까 제가 말씀드린 JO Job Opening인데요. 보통 이제 이런 식으로 온라인에 나와요. 그래서 여기에 이제 자세히 읽어보시면 뭐 아까 말씀드린 것 같이 어떤 일을 하고 뭐 어느 지역에 있고 뭐 이제 누구와 일을 해야 되고 이제 이런 자세한 상황들이 나오는데 이거를 자세히 분석을 하는 것이 어플리케이션을 낼 때 굉장히 중요합니다. 이제 유엔을 지원할 때 그 보통은 이제 저희 이제 Secretariat부터 설명을 드리자면 그 사무국의 경우에 이 UN Careers 포털이라는 웹사이트가 있어요. 그래서 여기에 모든 공석이 올라오게 되는데 여기에 지원을 할 때 온라인으로 PHP라는 것을 작성을 하게 됩니다. 그래서 이 PHP에 들어있는 내용을 바탕으로 서류 심사를 하게 되는 건데요. 많은 분들이 예상외로 이 PHP를 상당히 성의 없이 적어내시고 또 그런 분들이 많으세요. 그러니까 이제 여러 군데 다 지원을 하시잖아요. 그래서 심지어 이제 내가 뭐 이 같은 지원서로 뭐 방콕에 있는 뭐 에스캅의 어떤 자리에다 지원을 했다가 다음에 뭐 뉴욕에 있는 다른 자리로 지원을 한 거예요. 근데 그 타이틀조차도 바꾸지 않고 지원을 하시는 경우가 많아요. 그래서 읽다 보면 여기가 왜 이게 왜 여기로 왔지 싶은 그런 것들이 많은데 이제 그분들은 이제 여러 군데 지원을 하시면서 이제 바꾸질 않은 거죠. 그래서 하나하나 꼼꼼히 매번 커스터마이즈를 하는 게 중요하고, 왜냐하면 저희는 보통 공석이 하나 생기면 적어도 적은 경우가 보통 200개에서 300개의 어플리케이션이 들어와요. 근데 그게 이제 첫 번째 관문이 그 뭐 보통 딱 어플라이 하겠습니다 하고 클릭을 하면 거기에 이제 스크리닝 퀘스천스라는 곳으로 가게 되는데, 그 스크리닝 퀘스천스에 이제 꼭 필요한 경력사항이 있는지를 확인하는 그런 질문들이거든요. 그러니까 예를 들어서 아까 JEO에 보면 여기 experience라는 부분이 있는데 거기에 뭐 3년 이상 뭐 국제기구에서 근무한 경력이 있어야 합니다. must have라는 조항이 있는, 그러니까 required라는 조항이 있는 게 있고 desired라는 말이 들어가는 조항들이 있어요. 그래서 그 must have, required 이런 부분은 없으면 자동으로 걸러져요, 그 서류에서. 근데 뭐 desired, 뭐 예를 들어서 이게 포스트가 뭐 미국에 있는 포스트라서 뭐 영어만 잘하면 돼라고 했는데 그 밑에 뭐 another UN language is desirable 이렇게 나온단 말이에요. 그러면은 뭐 불어나 뭐 중국어나 뭐 다른 뭐 아라빅이나 이런 거를 할 수 있으면 우리가 조금 더 가산점을 줄게 이런 뜻이거든요. 그래서 그런 거는 뭐 꼭 있어야 되는 건 아니고 있으면 좋은 거. 그래서 그렇게 나눠지게 되는데, 그래서 그런 부분들을 꼼꼼하게 확인을 하고 내가 만약에 뭐 중국어 할 수 있는데 그 부분을 안 썼단 말이에요, PHP에. 그러면은 그거는 사실 그냥 이제 뭐 모르고 지나가게 되는 부분이죠. 거기서 분명히 가산점을 받을 수 있었었는데. 그래서 그걸 꼼꼼히 체크를 하기를 부탁을 드리고, 한번 아까 말씀드린 한 번 생성이 되면 그걸 이용해서 이제 다른 여러 곳에 이제 지원을 할 수가 있는데 잊지 말고 꼭 그거를 커스터마이즈하고, 그다음에 특히 커버 페이지, 커버 노트를 보내야 되는데 커버 노트를 뭐 안 읽으시는 분들도 간혹 있다고는 하세요. 근데 많은 부분 그거를 읽고 어떤 지원자에 대한 인상을, 그리고 특히 이제 영어 유엔에서 일할 때 그 라이팅이 굉장히 중요한데 그 라이팅에 대한 어떤 인상을 가장 크게 받는 부분이 커버 페이지거든요. 그래서 커버 페이지를 잘 썼을 경우 뭐 다른 뭐 것이 비슷하다면 저는 그분을 이제 다음 단계로 올리는 결정을 커버 노트를 보고 많이 하는 경우가 있습니다. 그래서 이제 서류에 통과를 했어요. 그러면은 그 다음에 오는 게 인터뷰예요. 그래서 competency based 인터뷰라는 거를 하게 되는데, 이게 뭐냐 하면 그 유엔에서 지향하는 인재상이라고 생각하시면 돼요. 근데 그 인재상이 여기 오시면 core value, core competency, 그리고 managerial competency 이렇게 나와 있잖아요. 근데 이제 뭐 core value는 무조건 이 세 가지는 갖추고 있어야 한다 이거고, core competency는 그 공석에 따라 달라요. 그러니까 그 아까 JEO 아까 보여드린 거에 core competency가 보통 2개에서 3개 정도 나와 있어요. 그러니까 우리는 이 자리는 이런 부분들이 굉장히 중요하다라고 이제 얘기를 하는 것들이 있거든요. 그래서 뭐 예를 들어서 뭐 행정직이다 그러면은 client orientation이라고 뭐 고객에 대한 어떤 그런 응대라든지 뭐 그런 부분들이 중요하다라고 할 것이고, 아니면 뭐 회계나 이런 쪽의 일이다 그러면 뭐 accountability 뭐 이런 게 중요하겠죠. 그리고 뭐 IT 직군이다 그러면 technological awareness 이런 것들이 중요하게 되는데, 여기서 이제 2-3개 정도를 뽑아서 JEO에 기재를 합니다. 그러면은 이제 인터뷰를 할 때 그 여기 적혀 있는 내용으로 질문을 하게 돼요. 그래서 예를 들어서 이제 중요하게 뽑은 게 커뮤니케이션하고 뭐 플래닝 앤 오르가나이징하고 팀워크 3가지다. 그러면은 여기에 있는 질문 밖에 못 하게 돼 있어요. 그러니까 이미 이제 어떤 전문성은 제가 잊고 얘기를 안 해드렸는데 서류 심사 후에 요즘은 보통 반드시 하는 건 아니지만 기술적인 시험이 있는 경우가 거의 95% 이상이에요. 그래서 온라인으로 이제 기술적인 시험을 보게 되는데 거기서 이제 통과를 하면 인터뷰를 하게 돼요. 근데 그 이유가 최근 한 10몇 년 동안에 이 인터뷰 상에서는 기술적인 질문을 아예 못하게 한 거예요. 그래서 이게 컴피턴시 베이스드 인터뷰이기 때문에 기술적인 질문을 하지 말아라라고 이제 저희 인사에서 그렇게 이제 정책으로 정했고, 그래서 이제 전문적인 기술적인 부분을 테스트하기 위해서는 미리 어떤 시험을 통해서 하고 거기서 이제 걸러져서 오신 분들이 인터뷰를 하게 되는데, 그래서 기술적인 부분이 전혀 아니고 이제 내가 일하는 방식에 대한 질문들을 하게 되는 거예요. 그래서 여기서 뭐 커뮤니케이션이다 그러면은 이제 그런 질문을 굉장히 많이 하죠. 뭐 내가 뭐 일을 하면서 겪었던 커뮤니케이션에서 어려웠던 부분들이 어떤 게 있었습니까? 그런 부분들을 어떻게 극복하셨습니까? 뭐 이런 종류의 질문들을 굉장히 많이 하게 돼요. 그래서 뭐 플래닝 앤 오거나이징이다 그러면은 데드라인이 뭐 여러 가지가 한꺼번에 올 때 뭐 어떻게 일을 뭐 정리를 하십니까? 뭐 그리고 뭐 그런 만약에 데드라인을 놓쳤을 때는 어떻게 하십니까? 뭐 데드라인을 놓치지 않기 위해서는 어떻게 하십니까? 뭐 이런 종류의 그런 진짜 업무하는 그런 방식에 대한 그런 질문들을 많이 한다고 보시면 됩니다. 그래서 이거는 어떻게 보면 준비하기가 조금 쉬워요. 그래서 이제 컴피턴시 베이스드 인터뷰까지 가셨을 경우 그 컴피턴시에 대해서 나올 수 있는 예상 질문들을 최대한 많이 뽑아 보시고 그 사례 위주로 사례가 굉장히 중요하기 때문에 뭐 꼭 그렇게 질문하거든요. 그러니까 뭐 그냥 추상적으로 뭐 이런 경우에 이렇게 할 것 같아요 이렇게 대답하는 거 굉장히 싫어하고 실제 너가 전에 직장에서는 어땠어? 뭐 아니면 뭐 학교 다닐 때 뭐 이런 일이 뭐 이런 비슷한 경우가 있었어? 뭐 이렇게 물어보거든요. 그러면은 이제 그거에 대해서 자기가 어떻게 했고 뭐 만약에 그때 이제 판단이 적절하지 못했다라고 나중에 뭐 생각이 된다면 뭐 그런 부분들도 얘기할 수 있거든요. 뭐 그때는 내가 이렇게 결정을 해서 이렇게 했는데 뭐 지금 생각해 보니 뭐 이렇게 하는 게 더 좋을 것 같아요라고 하는 것도 뭐 충분히 잘 이제 얘가 이제 이런 걸 통해서 배웠고 이런 경험이 있구나라는 것을 이제 인지를 시켜주면 되는 거라서 그런 부분들을 사례를 많이 준비하시면 될 것 같습니다. 그래서 뭐 그 PHP 쓰는 거는 온라인 튜토리얼이 있어요. 그래서 그 UN 커리어스 웹사이트에 가시면 거기에 여러 가지 리소스가 있는데 뭐 각종 뭐 PHP 쓰는 법, 뭐 아까 말했던 스크리닝 퀘스천에 대답하는 법, 뭐 여러 가지가 있습니다. 그래서 그거를 참고해 보시면 될 것 같고, 제가 지금 유엔에서 일한 지가 오래됐는데 그래서 제가 그 지역도 상당히 많이 옮겨 다녔어요. 지금 아까 말씀드린 것처럼 케냐에서 시작을 해서 뭐 제네바로 갔다가 또 방콕으로 갔다가 이제 이쪽으로 왔는데 제가 경험한 유엔은 확연하게 제가 그거 말씀드리려고 했구나. 인턴십이 왜 중요한지. 그러니까 그런 일하는 방식이 굉장히 비슷해요. 어느 사무실을 가든지. 그러니까 여기가 유엔이다라고 하면 그런 방식들이 약간 좀 매우 비슷해서 뭐 그 나라만 바뀌었을 뿐 나의 일은 거의 변하지 않는 그런 느낌이거든요. 그래서 인턴십을 저는 사실 뭐 막연히 그냥 국제기구 되게 멋지고 이 나라 저 나라 옮겨 다니면서 일도 할 수 있고 너무 뭐 좋을 것 같아 이런 마음으로 지원을 한 케이스인데 제가 만약에 인턴십을 해봤다면 뭐 과연 같은 선택을 했을까라는 질문을 저 가끔 하거든요. 그러니까 이게 되게 어떻게 보면 유엔에 맞는 사람과 안 맞는 사람이 있어요, 분명히. 그래서 그런 것들을 이제 경험을 직접 해보고 그럴 수 있는 기회가 인턴십밖에 없거든요. 그리고 실질적으로 이제 처음 그 서류 심사할 때 이제 내시잖아요, 서류를. 그러면 이제 인턴십을 한번 해보면 얘네가 뭘 원하는구나라는 게 확연히 드러나요. 100% 보여요. 그래서 그런 것들에 대한 준비를 확실하게 할 수 있는 방법이 저는 인턴십밖에 없지 않나라는 생각이 들고, 그래서 좀 열심히 알아보시고 준비를 하시라고 당부를 드리고 싶고, 제가 말씀드린 거는 이제 아까 그 사무국 기준으로 말씀을 드렸는데, 모든 Funds and Programs와 Specialized Agency에는 그러니까 UN 사무국에서 그 행정 절차를 해주지 않는 모든 곳은 각각의 사이트에 개별적으로 공지가 올라오거든요. 그래서 그거를 직접 확인을 해보셔야 돼요. 그래서 그거를 확인해 보시고, 또 뭐 그 외교부의 뭐 그 국제기구 채용하는 그 인사 뭐 사이트도 있다고 얘기를 들었는데, 뭐 그런 곳을 참고하시는 것도 매우 좋은 방법일 것 같고, 유엔처럼 사실 모든 정보가 오픈돼 있고 찾기 쉬운 것도 많지 않아요. 그래서 정말 발품을 파는 만큼 많은 거를 트라이 해볼 수 있고, 그렇기 때문에 열심히 발품을 파시라고 말씀드리고 싶습니다. 네, 여기까지 하겠습니다. 감사합니다.
유엔에스캅 산하 ICT 분야 전문 교육기관인 UNAPACICT 유엔아태정보통신교육원의 누앙케 웡타와 차이님입니다.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm very pleased to be here today. First, I would like to introduce myself. My name is Nuan Khe. I'm a program officer of APACICT ESCAP. And let me tell you a little bit about my work experience. Before joining APACICT, I worked with Economic and Social Commission of Western Asia, or ESCWA, in Beirut, Lebanon. And after that, I moved to New York, and I worked with two different departments, which are Department of Management and Department of General Assembly and Conference Management. And in 2016, I came to Korea, and I joined APACICT as a program officer. Today, I would like to give you a brief introduction about the United Nations Youth Career Option and also interview strategy. And I would also like to invite those of you who may be interested to join our internship program. The United Nations was founded in 1945 after the Second World War. And when it was founded in 1945, there were only 45 member states. Today, it has 193 member states, and the Republic of Korea became the member in 1991. The UN has a headquarters in New York City, and it has over 36,000 UN Secretariat staff and more than 95,000 uniformed personnel. Yes. So let me give you the introduction video. When it was founded, the UN has 6 main organs, and one of the main organs is the Secretariat. And ESCAP, or Economic and Social Commission for Asia and the Pacific, is one of the main principal organs of the United Nations. And it is the development arm of the UN for Asia and the Pacific region. It has 53 member states and 9 associate members. And it is the most comprehensive of the UN 5 regional commission, and it's also the largest UN body serving the region. And ESCAP has 5 regional offices and 5 regional institutes. And then there are more than 600 staff members working for ESCAP. The headquarters of ESCAP is based in Bangkok, and there is a regional institute, which is my office, APACICT, and sub-regional office of East and Northeast Asia. These 2 offices are located in Songdo, Incheon. APACICT was established in 2006, and it is funded by the Republic of Korea through Ministry of Science and ICT and the Incheon metropolitan cities. And the main mandate of our office is to strengthen the capacity of ESCAP member states to leverage ICT for inclusive and sustainable development. And there are 3 main activities, which are capacity building, technical assistance, and knowledge sharing and e-learning. The UN workforce is comprised of different job categories, and you can join the UN through the Young Professional Program, as well as an intern and consultants and volunteer. Today, I would like to focus on the Young Professional Program and Internship Program. The Young Professional Program, or YPP, is internationally recruited, and it is the competitive exam for joining the UN at the entry level. And the eligibility is that you have to have a minimum first-level university degree, and the YPP exam is held once a year in different subject areas. And it's only open for national or participating country. The application process is typically open in June of each year. And let me introduce to you this short video on the Young Professional Program.
Hello and welcome to the United Nations Young Professionals Program introduction video. The UN Young Professionals Program is a recruitment initiative for talented, highly qualified professionals to start a career as an international civil servant with the UN Secretariat. It consists of an entrance examination process and professional development once those successful start their career with the UN. Each year, countries that are un- or underrepresented in the United Nations are invited to take part in YPP. Only nationals of those countries are eligible to apply for the exam. In order to be eligible to apply, you need to hold the nationality of a participating country, must have at least a first-level university degree relevant for the exam, a relevant bachelor's degree or a 3-year equivalent degree, be 32 years old or younger in the year of the examination, and be fluent in either English or French. The YPP exams are held once a year in different subject areas depending on the needs of the UN. The application period typically opens in June each year. And finally, candidates that are successful in the YPP exam process will be placed on a roster, which is used to fill entry-level professional vacancies across the UN Secretariat over a 3-year period. For more information, please visit the YPP Careers page at careers.un.org/YPP and follow the official UN Careers pages on social media.
For 2020, the YPP is open for the Republic of Korea for this subject area. And you can find more resources by going to this career portal. Now let me provide you with some career strategies. In order to have a success career, you must be encouraged to regularly and systematically work on your job search and And you should also analyze the job market and collect relevant information and understand the trend. And also it should be strategic and upgrade and re-skill that you have identified related to the market trend. And you should have a career development strategy. For example, you may want to expand your technical or transferable competency, and it is important to have a good network and mentor. For job search, first you should identify resource of job posting, for example, from the internet, from your network, or from other professional association. And you can use job search using keyword. And you should always review the job description and try to do a matching exercise. Analyze the key job requirement against your relevant experience, knowledge, and skill. And if possible, try to volunteer to take on a project or work where you can develop and apply professional skill. And once you found a job opening that you are interested, you can prepare for the application process. So in order to do that, you should know yourself and your skill and competency. And ask yourself whether this position is right for you or not. And do you meet the required qualification or the required experience? And your application would also reflect your language skill. And you should also consider other implications if you are selected. For example, you may have to move abroad and leaving your family behind and learn new languages. And then last but not least, you should ask, like, will I actually take this job if you are selected? And very often, you will be asked to take a written examination. And in order to prepare for the written examination, you should know the fundamental. For example, what knowledge and skill required for this position. And it will be very helpful to look at the UN document and report in the field that you are taking the examination. And you may want to familiarize yourself with the context relevant to the UN activities. And you should also look at the basic fact about the UN and pay attention to the written examination instruction. For example, in many positions, they will ask you for limitation of the word, so you should be mindful of that kind of instruction when taking the test. And once you successfully pass the examination, you will be invited to the competency-based interview. So this is the behavioral interview, and most of the question is like, tell us about yourself or your situation when you had a problem working in a team. This is the teamwork question. Or another question would be like, give an example of a time when you have to manage multiple priorities. So this question is testing your planning and organizing abilities. So to answer this type of question, you should structure your answer like situation, action, and result. And it should be real examples. And then you should also think about how you could contribute to the position that you are applying for. And also listen to the question carefully and be as specific as possible. And also, it would be very helpful to practice your answer before the interview. And if you are interested in a career in the international development or diplomacy, you may be interested in joining the UN as an intern. In my office, we also offer this opportunity for students all around the world. This year, we hosted 14 interns from France, Germany, from China, from Korea. And our internship program is would expose you to have the international experience and have a hand-on working experience, and also will provide you to work with a team of different colleagues and interns. And in some cases, your university may provide some credit for your internship with the UN. And to be eligible, you could be the student of the master or PhD program, or you could also be the final year of your bachelor degree. And those who recently graduate also be eligible. And the language requirement usually either fluency in English or French, depending on the duty station. I'd like to show you the video that was developed by our previous intern from France. He was our graphic design intern. So if you are interested in the internship program, you may visit this website and look for the job opening. And in addition, you may also be interested in working for other specialized agencies. So they have their own recruitment system, and these are the organizations that you may want to have a look. And these are the resources for interview and other competency-based information. Thank you.
이어서 동아시아와 대양주를 따라 이동하는 철새와 그 서식지를 보존하기 위한 EAAFP 동아시아 대양주 철새이동경로 파트너십의 비비안 푸님입니다.
Hi everyone, this is Vivian Fu from the East Asian Australasian Flower Partnership Secretariat. I'm the Communication Officer of the office. Today I would like to bring you about the East Asian Australasian Flower Partnership, and that's we are aiming to connect people and migratory water birds. So let me first start my presentation. First of all, I would like to introduce to you what is migratory water birds. This is the main target that we are working for. And as you can see at the background, this is the black-faced spoonbill. So we have a lot of birds, and birds migrate. So some of you may know about swallow that comes to Korea every summer. And we have this black-faced spoonbill having a really interesting and outstanding bill, a long spoon-shaped bill. That's why we call it black-faced spoonbill. And it's a superstar in Incheon in Korea because they breed here. The map next to it is where it's go around a year. And I'm going to move you more, to guide you more about his life cycle. As you can see, this is the life cycle of a migratory water birds, and I'm using black-faced spoonbill as an example. So every summer, they breed here in Korea. Incheon, if you went to Namdong Reservoir, you will see a lot of them breeding there. And they also breed in the North Korea and also northern China. Every autumn, they will move down because it's getting colder. It's actually now they are migrating. They are migrating to the south where they can have warmer temperature. And here is so cold that the water will be frozen and there will be not many food for them. That's why they are moving to the warmer south, to South China, Southeast Asia, and including Hong Kong. It is where I'm come from. So they stay there for winter time, and then they, in springtime, they will rush back here for breeding. So every year, these birds, the black-faced spoonbill is actually a size like this. And there are even smaller birds of my palm size that can migrate even longer, a distance 2 times a year. In this map, you can see there are roughly 8 to 9 migratory routes. We call it flyway for migratory water birds. And in the middle, you can see the highlighted ones, which is bounded by the red lines, is the East Asian Australasian Flyway. It is where we are, and it stretches from the Far East Russia and Alaska in the US, all the way down to Australia and New Zealand. And this is also the area that our office, the East Asian Australasian Flyway Partnership, is working for. Give you more background of the migratory birds in this flyway. We have annually about 50 million migratory water birds that come through this flyway, which are from 250 population. Among them, 36 species were globally threatened, and 19 of them are near threatened. So these criteria were assessed by the IUCN. And some of them, a lot of them have annual decline. Some of them may even have as high as 9% decline rates. And in the graph here, it shows that the East Asian Australasian Flyway has the longest bar. That is actually not something we should be proud of, because that shows the proportion of globally threatened species, and it's the top among all the flyways in the world. And what the birds are facing, the threats, let me introduce some of the key ones to you. You see there are all this here at the back. The brown dots are actually all birds. And you can see we have habitat loss, pollution, that's made the habitats or the wetlands that the birds use fade away, disappeared. And also they are being hunted. We have nice grassland here, but they are not good. They are invasive species called the spartina, called grass. And we also have human disturbance. We have a lot of people going to the mudflat to collect shellfish, and somebody may turn the mudflat into fish pond or shrimp ponds. So all these are actually threats to the migratory birds. And going back to the issues about the flyway, or how far the birds are flying in a flyway. So just taking black-faced spoonbill, just for one species, not one single country or a site can alone protect this one species. And we have over 200 species in our flyway. So just see that in the breeding ground, we have North Korea, South Korea, China, and down we have more sites and countries and places that the blackface spoonbill needed. So protecting for blackface spoonbill, we have to work with other places. And that is why we have our East Asian Australasian Flower Partnership established. So the EAAFP, in short, was adopted in 2002 in the list of the World Summit on Sustainable Development as a Type 2 initiative. And in 2005, it's become one of the Ramsar initiatives. In 2006, it was officially launched as a partnership, and we had our first meeting of partners in Indonesia. So in brief, EAAFP is a network of partners within the East Asian Australasian Flyway, and we aim to protect migratory water birds, their habitats, and the livelihood of people depending upon these sites. At the moment, we have 39 partners. 18 of them are country partners, and we have 6 intergovernmental organizations as partners. 13 of them are international NGOs. We have IUCN as our international organization partner, and Rio Tinto is our private sector partner. So this is quite a unique partnership for the EAAFP because we are not legally binded. It is a voluntary and informal partnership. But it is because of this informal and voluntary nature of the partnership that allowed us to work closer not only with the government, but also with the NGOs and even with the private sectors. And we also developed a flyway site network. So just as I mentioned, for the blackface spoonbill, there are already 7 countries or places involved. But now, following the criteria of Ramsar or flyway criteria, we have identified over 1,000 important sites for migratory birds. So we wanted to develop this network in order to make sure that these sites are sustainably managed to support the survival of the migratory water birds. And at this moment, we have 147 flyway network sites. All were nominated and designated by the government partners. And of course, we work on key species. So these are not the only species that we are looking after, but they are called flagship species. So whenever we are aiming to protect a site for this species, not only that single species is beneficial, the other species using the same habitat and the sites, they will benefit from the protection that lay on the area and the sites. So in this way, we have identified ways to protect wider scopes of habitats and also other species. And coming back, we do also work with a wide range of partners and stakeholders, including, of course, our government partners, intergovernment organizations, international NGOs, site managers, and visitor centers at the flyway network sites. We also work closely with the researchers so that we know about the status of the birds and the sites. We also do educational work and with schools, teachers, and educators, etc. So we are not only working with biologists or the governments on the protection of migratory water birds. So now I've talked about what our office is doing, and I would like to introduce to you the internship program. So in our office, it's quite a small office in Incheon. We are also actually having an office in G Tower in Songdo here, and it's quite a small office. So we are regularly recruiting interns who can help on different issues. We have several teams in our office. So we have admins and finance team, program team, external relations team, communication teams, which I'm in charge of. And yeah, for those who are interested, we regularly post a recruitment notice on our website and on social media. So please check on our website and our social medias for any news and updates on the recruitments. And becoming our interns, you can do a lot of things that you have learned. If you have a communication background, maybe you like writing, that you have a chance to write news article, brochures, posters. If you like designing and arts, you also have a lot of chance to prepare souvenirs, card news, design work for our communication purpose. Or if you have biology background, you also can explore the chances of important sites to help develop our flyway site network. Here in the background, you can see the waterbirds photo contest is actually mainly coordinated by one of our interns. So with a small office, you obviously have lots of chance to explore things and learn things. On top of that, you can also have a chance to support international events and meet our partners from around the world. So our interns also help to coordinate meetings and field trips, and also help us to communicate with our partners. So you can have a chance if you join us as interns. Other than sitting just in the office, there are flyway network sites. There are sites that we wanted to show people important for migratory waterbirds. And that's why we also have field trips, and we also have visits to other sites that you can see outside the office. In case you are not eligible to be our interns, so we are also recruiting volunteers. So this is a new program for our EAAFP Secretariat, and we encourage everyone who are committed to help and to donate your talents to join the volunteer program. So right now, we're looking for a translator for news so that we can bring the news to other flyway countries. And we also need designers to help with the visual aids, design work. Also, we need some good writers to help us to deliver messages into news articles and other form of writings. And we also may organize on-site conservation activities, and we would like you to join. So check this QR code, scan it, and look into our webpage. Yeah, this is more details about what kind of voluntary work that we are looking for, but I'm not going to go through the details. So you can have a look on our website and select or tell us what you're good at. So the final message for people who wanted to be our interns or volunteers is no matter which subjects or which backgrounds you are, there are always potential links between your fields of studies or your field of expertise and conservation of wetlands and migratory waterbirds. So we need economists to help us to understand the economic issues for the local communities. We also need sociologists to help to deal with the social issues. We also need engineers to help us to think of ways that we can better study the migratory waterbirds. We also need people who are good at storytelling, who are good at design work to help us to deliver the message to general public better. So this is one of the upcoming events that we are going to have. It's the Flyway Youth Forum. This is the first ever youth forum for the Flyway. And the deadline is, for application is actually tomorrow, but hopefully if there is a chance that we will have more opportunity to organize these activities for young people along the flyway and also around the world. So this is the end of my presentation. Again, please scan the QR codes and visit our website. Thank you very much.
유엔의 전반적인 행정 업무 및 유엔 체제 내 각 기구로부터 위임된 임무를 수행하는 유엔사무국의 권홍석 유엔 부서 치프님입니다.
It is a great pleasure being with you and spend time together to explain about careers in the UN Secretariat. Let me first introduce myself a little bit and my sort of career journey in the UN Secretariat so far. I went to a university in the US and graduated from there with finance management degree. And after graduation from university, I got a job in the private sector and I worked there for 4.5 years. And then I came across that the UN Secretariat was offering the National Competitive Recruitment Examinations, which is now replaced by Young Professionals Program. And I took the exam and luckily I passed it. And the first job in the UN was in the Economic and Social Commission for Asia and the Pacific. I worked in the transport and infrastructure development for 4 years. And my sort of dream was always to work in headquarters in New York. And I was fortunate to transfer to New York. And I worked in the Office of Human Resources Management, different areas of human resources management for 17 years. And then in 2017, I had the opportunity to go to Paris to work in UNESCO as the director of HR for 2 years. And last year, I returned to the Secretariat in New York. Has been a wonderful, fulfilling, rewarding experience. And I wake up every morning and knowing that what I do contributes to the peace of the world and welfare of the people. It's very rewarding and fulfilling, and I hope that all of you pursue that opportunity, and hopefully you get the opportunity to actually work in an international organization like the UN. The topics that I will be covering in my presentation today, an overview of the UN global system, brief introduction about the UN Secretariat mandates and vision and skills needed to work in the UN. Also want to explain a little bit about our diverse workforce, overview of recruitment process and selection procedure, and we'll provide you with some guidance on how to write applications, how to take the written tests and prepare for the competency-based interviews, and at the end, some career advice for our Korean nationals. So we have many topics to cover, so let's get to it. The slides provides an overview of the UN system. UN is an intergovernmental organization that aims to maintain international peace and security, develop friendly relations among nations, achieve international cooperation, and be a center for harmonizing actions of nations. This map, which is available online, provides, looks very complicated, but it's not that complicated. Quick overview of the UN global system. As you can see, UN system includes the multitude of specialized agencies, funds, and programs, such as the World Food Program, which recently won the Nobel Peace Prize, World Health Organization, UNDP, UNICEF, UNESCO. And as you can see, the UN Secretariat is one of the organs, including General Assembly, Security Council, Economic and Social Council, International Court of Justice, and Trustship Council. And UN Secretariat administers and coordinates the activities of the UN system. This slides provides overview of the UN Secretariat locations. As you can see, we are located all over the world. Headquarters is located in New York, and we also have offices in Geneva, Vienna, Nairobi, Bangkok, Santiago, Beirut, Addis Ababa, and also field mission locations, which are mostly in Africa or also in Middle East. This overview of the Secretariat is also available online, our UN public website. What are some of the mandates and key priority areas? Again, the UN works to promote peace and security, economic development, humanitarian and human rights globally. In order to achieve that, the Sustainable Development Goals, what we call SDGs, are vital to success. 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development, adopted by all UN member states in 2015, provides a shared blueprint for peace and prosperity for people and the planet, now and into the future. At its heart are 17 Sustainable Development Goals, which are an urgent call for action by all countries, developed and developing, in a global partnership. They recognize that ending poverty and other deprivations must go together with strategies that improve health and education, reduce inequality, and spur economic growth, all while tackling climate change and working to preserve our oceans and forests. What are some of the skills that are required in the UN Secretariat? The slides provide the job networks and job families that we have, sort of functions that we have in the UN Secretariat. We do have overall 9 job networks, and within these job networks there are different functions, and I'm not going to go into the details of each of the job networks, but as you can see, the Secretariat has many functions. We not only have functions in political and humanitarian areas, we also have areas in management, public information, logistics, legal, security and safety, and also science. So please explore what sort of jobs we have, and hopefully you can find a right job path for yourself. What sort of education do we need? The minimum requirement is a first level university degree, combined with a necessary work experience, depending on the level of jobs that you want to apply to. I will get into more details later on. But we also have positions in certain job families, including military, civilian, police, medical, conference services, that may have different standards for the minimum educational requirements, which are based on the level of expertise that we require. They are all available and specified in our vacancy announcement at job openings. Positions such as medical doctors, yes, we do have medical doctors, and they require an advanced university degree, which cannot be substituted by a combination of first level university degree and experience. We do also have language positions like interpreters and translators and editors, and again, they may not require advanced university degree. And certain jobs again require master's degree, advanced university degree, but can be substituted by a first level university degree with necessary years of experience. We are a diverse workforce. About nationals from 170 member states are represented in our staff population. We value gender parity. So we look for qualified women candidates, while we respect all gender identities, sexual orientation, disabilities, all types of races, religions, among others. We embrace the values and objectives of the UN. We also look for who can demonstrate the competencies of the organization. We look for young professionals and in the mid to senior level professionals. We also look for those who can speak multiple UN official languages. As you know, the 6 official languages are Arabic, Chinese, English, French, Russian, and Spanish. So these are some of the the traits and attributes and skills that we look for in our workforce. Just to take you through the overview of recruitment process. What are our career entry points? We do have different categories. At the high level, we do have internationally recruited staff, locally recruited staff, and other types. For internationally recruited staff, we do have professional and higher categories who perform specialized expert functions. They vary from P1 through D2 and also Undersecretary General and Assistant Secretary General levels. We do have young professionals, the program, junior professionals program, and also field service who are mostly in the field missions. And we also offer language and competitive examinations for language professionals. Let me just quickly go into each of these, the types. As I have already touched upon, for professional and higher categories, they are normally internationally recruited. I expected to serve in different duty stations throughout their career in the UN Secretariat. All these openings for these categories can be found in our careers portal, careers.un.org. A young professionals program, I'm sure many of you have already have certain knowledge about the program. If you are recently graduated from university and you have limited or no work experience, you may qualify to take the YPP exam. It's an annual competitive examinations, which is open for nationals from un- and underrepresented member states. So it is not open to all nationals, but if you are from one of the un- and underrepresented member states, you can actually take the exam, provided that you meet certain qualifications, which include the 32 years of age limit. You have to be 32 or younger to be eligible to take the YPP. You must have minimum first level university degree in the relevant field of studies. You have to be fluent either in English or in French. No experience is necessary, but if you have any experience, please make sure that you include that in your applications, because it may be used to filter applications depending on the volume. We also have junior professionals program. This is sponsored by a number of member states, and Republic of Korea is one of them. If you are selected as a junior professional through, let's say, Korean JPO program, then you will have staff contract and you will be working like a regular staff. There are certain eligibility requirements depending on the country, but normally requires advanced university degree, minimum 2 years of experience, fluency in English or French. Additional, the fluency is always helpful, and I think there is an age limit. Again, depending on sponsoring country. The JPO program is available in different functions, political affairs, social affairs, economic affairs, law, human rights, also in management, economic affairs, and environmental affairs. So, JPO can be working in various functional areas. Now, field service, they are internationally recruited, but they mostly serve in field missions. You are expected to be highly mobile and serve in very difficult duty stations. They provide functions in administration, logistics, and other support areas in field missions. You are required to have a minimum high school diploma or equivalent educational requirement. Some positions may require technical or vocational certificate. So it is not necessary to have university degree to work in the field service category, but all depending on the level. The level is available from FS1 to FS3, and FS6 and FS7 are considered professional level positions. Again, we do have language professionals, interpreters, editors, translators, and they are hired through language competitive examinations, and more information is available in our careers portal as well. In the locally recruited staff categories, we do have national professional officer who perform professional functions, but they are hired locally, so they have different salary scales and benefit package. And general service category staff, they provide support functions. Again, they do have different salary scales and benefit package. We also have temporary opportunities and consultancy opportunities, and we do also hire volunteers through UN volunteer program, and we also hire interns. Now, in the UN Secretariat, interns are non-paid. To learn more about these opportunities, again, please visit our careers portal. Selection process. This slide provides a high-level process map. Once you search for the suitable job opportunity that you are interested in, you create a profile and prepare application, and then you submit the job application, and machine and the evaluation panel will screen your application. If you deem suitable, you will be invited to assessment process, including written assessment. Written assessment is not always given, but depending on hiring managers, you may be invited to a written assessment. And once you pass the written assessment, then you will be invited to competency-based interview. And once you are successful, you will be notified of your selection, and you join and start working. So very high-level process. Now, just to give you certain sort of guidance and tips for writing applications. Now, application entails cover letter, personal information, education, experience, qualifications, and your language skills, and you have to include normally 3 references. You have to make sure the information that you provide is accurate. And you also have to make sure the information you provide is relevant to the profile of the job that you applied to. So please ensure, before you actually, start writing in the actual application, I would encourage that you, write it in a sort of Word document and make sure that you spell check and also ensure that information is accurate. And once you are comfortable with all the information that you are going to provide in your application, then you convert that into the forms, online forms that you need to fill out. Again, accuracy and relevancy are very important. And before you actually writing applications, I strongly encourage that you study the job opening very carefully and acquaint with what they are looking for and what sort of skills, what sort of profiles and qualifications the job opening specify. Then you want to write your application to highlight what they are looking for, so that your application catches the attention and eyes of the the hiring manager. Now, for cover letter, don't write too lengthy cover letter. I strongly encourage that you limit it to 1 page. Don't repeat the full resume or the your experience, qualifications or achievements. Try to be concise, but you have to highlight why you are the most suitable candidate. Yeah, again, study the job opening before you start writing the cover letter. Please spell check and check your grammars. Make sure that they're all 100% accurate. Again, the education and experience qualifications, make sure that they are relevant to what they look for. And be honest. Don't try to exaggerate your qualifications, because hiring manager will find out. Okay, now written tests. Again, you may hiring manager may give you written test, or they may just give you interviews. But if you are invited to a written test, again, to read the job opening and sort of find out what they are looking for, and use our online resources as to let's say if you are applying for a job in political affairs, what some of the emerging issues that we are involved in, what sort of mandates that we are working on. So please take full advantage of various resources that we have. And again, written tests, normally they do not really look for right or wrong answers. They want to see how you think and analyze, and how look at certain issues. So don't try to come up with right answers per se. So you have to think strategically, analytically. So yeah, and again, the writing skill is important. Now, competency-based interviews. In competency-based interviews, we look for certain behavioral aspects in a candidate. We don't really look for the knowledge that you have. We don't really look for sort of technical aspect. We look for whether you possess certain attributes, behavioral traits that are suitable to work in an organization. So core competencies, include communication, teamwork, planning and organizing, accountability, creativity, client orientation, continuous learning, and technical awareness. And for managerial positions, we'll look for certain, managerial we are actually at the moment looking to revise our competency framework, and by end of the first quarter of 2021, we may have a different competency framework. And once the competencies change, there will be available again on our careers portal. So watch that space. So just to give you some competency-based interview questions. Some of the questions go like this. Tell us about the situation when you went above and beyond your manager's expectations. Give us an example of a time when you used your problem-solving abilities to resolve issue. Tell us about a situation where you had difficulties with your team member. How were you able to solve it? Tell us about a situation where you used your creativity to come up with new ideas, or solving difficult issues and challenges. Or tell us about the situation where your client was not happy, but what did you do to make your client happy, things like that. So you have to provide the concrete examinations, example in a situation. And the reason that we are doing this is that the past experience is a good indication of future performance as well. So some of the tips to prepare for the interviews: please study the competencies specified in the job opening that you are applying to. Normally there are 3 to 5 competencies specified in the job opening. So please study them, and please come up with at least 3 examples for each competency. And depending on questions, you can use any of those examples that you prepare. And in responses, try to highlight your strength. And you always to tell them about your willingness to learn, and don't try to lie in responses. Be honest about it. And some of the sort of frequently asked question is have you made any error, and what was the situation, and how were you able to correct it? And when you say, oh, I have never made an error in my career, I mean, we know that that is not correct. So you have to be truthful about your responses, and try to be genuine and sincere. Now, I recommend that in your response, include the context, the situation. What was the situation, and the next would be what action you took, and what results your action brought about, and what you learned from it. So what we call CAR, right? CAR. Context, situation, action you took, and the results, and lessons learned. So that's a sort of structure of good response. So that's sort of quick guidance as to how to prepare for competency-based interviews. We don't normally ask questions on core values, integrity, professionalism, and respect for diversity. Now professionalism, for professionalism, we normally ask questions as to why you are interested in job, why you believe you are the most qualified candidate for this job. And depending on the hiring manager, hiring manager may ask you some questions about technical specialty. So it's good to prepare. Now, interview panel normally consists of 3 or 4, minimum 3 or 4, or sometimes 5 people, and they take turn to ask questions. Okay, what are some of the career advice for my compatriots, future colleagues from Korea? As I mentioned in the beginning, UN offers very rewarding career, and again, given the UN objectives, what you do, makes a difference, make an impact on the peace of the world and welfare of the people. But knowing that, motivates you, and through your job, you are helping to push the UN agenda and objectives, on the world. Again, you will have opportunities to work with people with diverse backgrounds, and you can also, have opportunities work in different working environments, different countries, different locations. So you will have international experience. I think UN offers, decent, compensation package. It's not going to be as competitive as, some of the private sector organizations. But I think, you can have a decent quality of life, working in the UN. And I, strongly suggest that the women, UN is a very good, workplace for women. So, I think the most important thing is to have a passion that you want to contribute, again, to the peace of the world and welfare of the people, and passion that you want to work with people from different backgrounds, and passion that you want to work in different locations, including very difficult living and working places. So as long as you have that passion, and you continue to seek and pursue, and I'm sure you will have the opportunity to work in an organization in the UN. Please visit our careers portal, careers.un.org, for further information. We are available on social media, Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube. So, if you are interested in finding more about, how to have opportunities to work in the UN, please visit those sites. Now, if you are, interested in, getting more advice from myself, you can always, write to me. My email address is kwon@un.org. I'll be happy to answer any questions you may have. Now, I received some specific the questions seeking answers. So I'll try to go through those questions. Now, first question that I received was, are there any work experience which is preferred by the organizations when you apply for JPO, YPP programs? Would working for NGOs and or UN be much more beneficial rather than working in the private sector? Would there be any difference in writing the cover letter and resumes when you apply for the UN and private companies? As I have already explained about my qualification requirements, about qualification requirements for YPP and JPO in my presentation. You don't really need to have experience to sit for YPP. I think having experience helps. There may be high number of applications, and sometimes experience is used to rank candidates to invite to the exam. It always helps, but it is not a requirement. I think JPOs, depending on countries, and also because of competitiveness, I think it always helps to have experience if you want to apply for JPO. Again, working for NGOs and the UN is a rewarding experience. You may work directly with people who are impacted by different types of conflicts, and you may directly be involved in solving or alleviating problems and challenges that hinder the peace of the world and welfare of the people. And depending on what you studied and what your passions are and what your career aspirations and objectives are, you can make a choice whether to work in an NGO or UN or the private sector. Again, it comes down to what your career aspirations are, what your objectives are. I don't think there are significant differences in cover letters and resumes between applying for jobs in the UN or applying for jobs in the private sector companies. They may require different format depending on how you submit or apply, as now you submit your applications online. But I think the basic principles are the same.
Thank you very much for listening to my presentation. It has been a pleasure being with you. And I hope you continue to pursue the job opportunities in the UN, and I hope that you actually get to work in the UN. And if there are any support and help you need, please let me know. Thank you very much once again, and hope to see you. Bye.
범죄를 저지른 개인을 처벌하는 상설 전쟁범죄재판소 ICC 국제형사재판소의 수잔느 시절스 인사부서 치프님입니다.
The International Criminal Court is the first and the only permanent international criminal court to try those accused of the gravest of crimes: genocide, crimes against humanity, war crimes, and the crime of aggression. It is located in The Hague in the Netherlands. The ICC was established in 1998. It was a historic step, reflecting the determination of the world to prevent the gravest of crimes and bring to justice those who have committed those crimes. The founding states signed a treaty, the Rome Statute. This established the International Criminal Court. Today, there are 123 states parties. The states parties provide funding for the court. They elect the judges, the prosecutor, and the deputy prosecutors, and oversee the way the court is managed. The ICC is a court of last resort. This means that it does not replace national courts and justice systems. It can prosecute individuals only if a state is unable or unwilling to genuinely investigate and prosecute crimes. The court has no police force or army, so it relies on the cooperation of states for arresting those accused of crimes. For fair decisions to be reached, the court follows clear legal processes. The court has 18 judges. They conduct proceedings in the courtroom. It is their job to ensure that trials are fair. Following a trial, judges decide whether an accused person is guilty or innocent. The Office of the Prosecutor investigates crimes and prosecutes individuals. It does not prosecute states. No one is exempt from prosecution because of their status or position. Amnesty cannot be used to avoid prosecution. During trials, accused people are presumed innocent until proven guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. They are afforded a number of rights to ensure that proceedings are fair. Victims have the right to participate in the proceedings, most likely through a lawyer who will represent them in court. They can request reparations if the accused is found guilty and convicted. The ICC will continue to work with states parties, civil society, and communities to help prevent mass crimes. Together, we can build a more just world.
The ICC investigates and, where it's warranted, tries individuals charged with the gravest crimes: genocide, war crimes, crimes against humanity, and crimes of aggression. The court is an international organization based in The Hague in the Netherlands. The Hague is known as the political and administrative capital of the Netherlands. The city has developed as an international city of justice and peace, thanks to the presence of leading national legal institutions, as well as the International Court of Justice, the Yugoslavia Tribunal, and the International Criminal Court. The court is located close to the beach, and it employs around 1,100 persons from many different countries. When you hear of a court, it is often assumed that it's an organization for lawyers. And we do employ many lawyers. The court is a court and needs staff to support all the activities that happens in the courtroom: trial lawyers, court officers, etc. But the court is not only employing lawyers. In order to deliver its mandate, the court has different organs and therefore requires a wide range of professionals. In addition to the activities in the courtroom, we need investigators, security and witness protection specialists, country analysts, translators and interpreters. And like other organizations, the court also needs people working in areas such as finance, IT, communications, or in HR like me. So there are many job types, and every job is advertised on our website and using social media. When employing staff, we're trying to have a representation of all states parties, and we have targets for the number of staff we should have from each country. The Republic of Korea is a very important state party for the court and is underrepresented, and we would like to have more South Korean applicants for our jobs. If you would like to join us in our mission to create a more just world, then here's some information which may be relevant. All our jobs, or vacancies as we call them, are advertised on the ICC's website and on social media platforms. The job announcement contains detailed information about the organizational setting of the job, the functions you would be performing, which essential qualifications you have to meet with regards to education, work experience and skills, and abilities including language skills. It also describes the competencies we're looking for in persons working at the court. These vacancy announcements are long and there's a lot of information which is aimed at helping you as an applicant to decide if this is a job for you. If you're interested, then read carefully the section about essential qualifications. Some qualifications are required and they must be met. So if the job requires 8 years of professional experience and you only have 3, then this job is not for you, but there may be others that you qualified for. Other qualifications are labeled as desired or an advantage. It's nice if you have these qualifications, but if you have other relevant experience and you meet the profile, you should still apply. An example is language skills. We often require English and mention that French is an advantage. Many staff do not speak French when they're employed, so it might not always be a requirement for the job you're applying for. You will see a list of competencies which we're looking for in applicants. Overall, we're looking for people who are dedicated to our mission and passionate about creating a more just world. We want staff who are professional and able to use their expertise and find solutions. We want people who can work well in a team and with persons from all over the world and diverse backgrounds. We want persons who are able to adapt to change and help us get the job done. When you write your application, please ensure you provide all the required information. Especially, please provide details on your current and previous jobs so the recruiters can see which experience you have that is relevant for the job you're applying for. If you get shortlisted, you will often be invited to sit a written test. The test will normally be focused on technical skills relevant for the post you have applied for. If you apply for a job in human resources, you could be asked to describe an HR project you have worked on before. What were the project phases? How did you manage it? Here it is important to read the test instructions carefully. If you pass the test and are invited to the interview, you need to read the job notification again. And this time, think not just about the technical side of the job, but also the core competencies. Try to find examples that would show that you have the skills and the competencies which the court is looking for. Take the competency teamwork, for example. A question could be, please tell us about a time where you worked in a team which was dealing with a complex task against tight deadlines. How did you organize the work? What went well? What did not go well? What did you learn? It is important that you go through the vacancy announcement and for each of the skills and competencies you think about and prepare to talk about an example from your past. What have you done which could illustrate that you have this skill or the competency? All this may sound complicated, but it is a process and you will take one step at a time. The first step is to apply, so please look at our website or on social media, and you can sign up to receive notifications when jobs in your area becomes available. In addition to our jobs, we have other ways you can join the court. The Republic of Korea is one of the countries participating in the court's Junior Professional Officer Program, or JPO as we call it. The JPO program is focused on young professionals who are assigned for a period of 1 to 2 years as staff members of the court. JPOs are completely sponsored by the governments. The recruitment process for JPO positions is managed by the sponsor country and the ICC, and all positions are advertised on the ICC's social media pages. If you are in the final years of your studies or just graduated and have less than 3 years of work experience, you can join us as an intern. If you have a degree and more than 3 years of experience, you could come as a visiting professional. Our internship and visiting professional program offers approximately 200 internships and 50 visiting professional placements each year. Places are across all fields the program operates in: law, HR, translation, social psychology, to name a few. The purpose of these programs is for you to gain transferable experience in a multicultural and international workplace, and the court itself to benefit from the input of interns and visiting professionals in its core goal to end impunity. Most program placements are between 3 to 6 months, and we hope that your time at the ICC will contribute to your professional development as you progress through your career. You can read about these programs on the ICC website. We also invite you to follow us on social media. All our new job vacancies are advertised on the ICC pages on LinkedIn, Facebook, and Twitter. We hope this presentation has made you interested in joining our team. We'll be waiting for your application, and we hope to see you at the court and work together with you in the future.
My name is Kyubin, and I'm from Republic of Korea, and I'm an intern in the Office of the Prosecutor of the International Criminal Court. What motivated me to apply for the internship is actually a long story. I've always wanted to work in international courts or international organizations, but I've never had the courage to apply to one. And one day, one of the judges of the court came to my school and gave a speech about the mandate of himself and the court. And it was such an amazing story to me that it actually motivated me to apply for the court. And it's International Criminal Court. It's like the first permanent criminal court in the world. And there will be no better place to deepen my knowledge about international criminal law. The Hague is a beautiful city itself. But it's not only beautiful outside, but it's also beautiful inside. Like, what I mean is that it's beautiful culturally. It's culturally very rich. There are many art museums within The Hague, and that part of The Hague I find amazing. The difficulty I had to go through is definitely homesick. I want to be a better person so that I can contribute myself to the court. So after I finish my studies, and when I become a better lawyer than now because I'm a student, then I want to apply for a job here.
원자력의 평화적 이용을 위한 IAEA 국제원자력기구 크리스틴 심 인사부서 유니테드님입니다.
So, welcome to our presentation. We are discussing working at the International Atomic Energy Agency. My name is Christine Sim, and I'm the unit head of recruitment at the IAEA. Shuri?
Thank you. My name is Jory Helen. I'm Associate Recruitment Officer focusing on talent outreach and sourcing at the IAEA.
Today, let me first start by giving you an overview of the IAEA. Widely known as the world's Atom for Peace and Development organization within the United Nations family, the IAEA is the International Center for Cooperation in the Nuclear Field. The agency works with its member states and multiple partners worldwide to promote the safe, secure, and peaceful use of nuclear technologies. As an organization related to the United Nations, we share certain characteristics with the United Nations. For example, we are part of the International Civil Service Commission that regulates the salaries, allowances, and benefits for international civil service. As a specialized organization, we also report to the United Nations Department for Security and Safety. The IAEA makes direct contributions to 9 out of the 17 United Nations Sustainable Development Goals through nuclear science and technology. In addition to Vienna being our headquarters duty station, we have regional offices located in Toronto, Tokyo, liaison offices in New York and in Geneva, and research laboratories located in Cybersdorf, which is in Austria, as well as in Monaco. The vast majority of our 2,500 staff are located in our headquarters, and as of September this year, there are 172 member states, and we continue to work towards increasing the diversity of our member states' representation in terms of geographic and gender considerations. So for the next slide, let's cover a little bit in terms of the Sustainable Development Goals. In line with its Atoms for Peace and Development mandate, the IAEA supports countries in their efforts to reach the 17 SDG set out in the United Nations 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development. Many countries use nuclear science and technology to contribute to and meet their development objectives in the areas including energy, human health, food production, water management, and environmental protection. As you can see on the slide, the IAEA contributes directly to 9 out of the 17 SDGs. I will select 3 of the SDGs to illustrate how the IAEA uses nuclear techniques and science to contribute. So as you can see, for number 2, under Zero Hunger, nuclear science and technology can help hunger and malnutrition and improve food security and food safety through, for example, irradiation techniques. If you look at the Sustainable Development Goals number 3, under Good Health and Well-being, the use of nuclear technology in medicine, particularly to fight cancer and to diagnose diseases, has become one of the most widespread use of nuclear science. Let's refer to the development goal of number 6, under Clean Water and Sanitation. Through IAEA support, more than 90 countries have used nuclear and isotopic techniques to find, study, and protect water resources, which helps policymakers develop water protection and management strategies as well as plans. If you're interested to find out more, please visit our website. So let's give you an overview in terms of IAEA's department. Okay. On this slide, you can see the different departments of the IAEA. I will quickly give you an overview of each of these departments and its mandate. Under the Department of Management, here they provide a platform of services that enables the IAEA to successfully deliver its scientific and technical programs. The Department of Technical Cooperation is responsible for formulating and delivering IAEA's development mandate. The Department of Nuclear Energy fosters sustainable nuclear energy development by supporting existing and new nuclear programs around the world. The Department of Nuclear Science and Applications covers a broad range of social and economic sectors, from health, food, and agriculture to the environment, water resources, and industry. The Department of Nuclear Safety and Security aims at providing a strong, sustainable, and visible global nuclear safety and security framework and of course our Department of Safeguards, which carries out the IAEA's duties and responsibilities as the world's nuclear inspectorate by providing global support to stop the spread of nuclear weapons. In addition to these 6 departments, there are 5 offices reporting to the Director General. They are the Office of Coordination, the Secretariat of Policy Making Organs, the Office of Internal Oversight Services, the Office of Legal Affairs, and lastly, the Office of Public Information and Communication. As an international civil servant, staff members engage with current, meaningful issues of global peace, security, and development. So based on what you have heard so far about the IAEA, you can imagine that we offer not only diverse professional opportunities in the scientific and technical areas related to the nuclear field, but we also offer a wide range of other areas and opportunities. We need staff members in program management, human resources, finance, management, procurement, publications, and in information technology, just to name a few.
As noted earlier, the vast majority of staff members are located in Vienna headquarters. We have about 2,500 staff members, of which 1,500 in professional category and 1,000 in general services. As of September 2020, we have 172 member states and 87 interns from 45 member states. At the IAEA, we offer family-friendly working environment programs such as flex working hours, part-time work, or job sharing arrangements, opportunity to work from home in certain circumstances, parental leave, family emergency leave, nursing breaks, professional development, training courses, and language training. While promoting peaceful use of nuclear, the IAEA also strives for gender equality. As the Director General Grassi said, gender equality and the empowerment of women lie at the heart of the Sustainable Development Goals, and they are vital to fully realizing the rights and potential of everyone. These fundamental aims must also inform our work at the IAEA. Ensuring that these values are put into action, the IAEA practices gender mainstreaming in its programmatic activities, and it is working to increase the number of women in its professional and higher categories. The IAEA has also taken steps to increase the representation of women participants at conferences, seminars, and workshops. And we promote the involvement of women scientists in coordinated research and technical cooperation projects. So let's share different types of opportunities offered at the IAEA. Starting from the top left corner, professional staff members of the IAEA comprise of a multicultural group of specialists who carry out the programs of the IAEA. Candidates interested in professional posts with the IAEA are expected to have at least a university degree and appropriate work experience in choosing profession. The IAEA also offers some job opportunities for young professionals under Junior Professional Officer Program. This program is designed for young professionals who are the age of 32 years and below, and they are the national of a member state that currently has a JPO agreement with the IAEA. The application process for the JPO post takes place in the donor countries. The IAEA frequently engages consultants and experts under the individual contracts to work on the short-term projects. The functions of consultants and experts are results-oriented and usually assist in the delivery of specific IAEA programmatic activities. General service staff member provides support in the administrative, technical, and scientific areas. The recruitment for all general service posts is on a local basis only, so the candidate must legally reside in the location that they are submitting application for. So for example, for Vienna-based positions, you must reside in Austria at the time of the application. The IAEA also has internship opportunities for university students. Finally, the IAEA's Technical Cooperation Program supports fellowships and scientific visits. These visits are only awarded as a part of ongoing technical cooperation projects approved by the Board of Governors. Candidates must be nominated by the official channel established by their respective country of origin. So let's dive in further to learn about qualification and minimum requirements for the professional posts. Candidates interested in professional posts with the IAEA are expected to have at least a university degree and appropriate prior work experience in their chosen profession. They support the function of the IAEA by contributing as an individual expert, as well as offering specialized skills that are usually very specific to the nature of the IAEA's work. Professional staff include nuclear engineers, nuclear physicists, safeguards inspectors, mathematicians, biologists, chemists, marine scientists, and other scientific and technical occupational groups. Additionally, we also have a professional staff in functions such as human resources, translation, budget, and finance. Members of the international community qualify to apply for professional posts. We accept applications from qualified applicants, and the agency would support in the work. Members of the international community qualify to apply for professional posts. We accept applications from qualified applicants, and the agency will support to obtain the work visa. As an international staff member moving to an Austria, we offer attractive benefits such as education grant for your child, rental subsidies, relocation assistance, just to name a few. Professional staff at IAEA may be hired under various types of contracts with a different duration that is specified on our vacancy announcements. The agency has a rotation policy in which the maximum service is up to 7 years, subject to programmatic needs and funding. It is to be noted that appointments do not carry any expectancy, legal or otherwise, of renewal or conversion, irrespective of lengths of service. Professional staff are categorized by level, starting from P1 to P5, and then at the director level, D1 and D2. As you can see on the slide, the minimum requirements to qualify for the professional post vary by level. For example, for P1 through P3, university degree or equivalent of graduate degree is required. Based on the level of the position, years of experience required differ from 0 years to 5 years. For P4 and P5 and D1 and D2, advanced university degree or equivalent of postgraduate degree is required. Again, depending on the position, 7 to 15 years of experience is required. Based on the position, sometimes it does require a resource management experience. All in all, we look for candidates with strong analytical skills, computer skills, specifically on languages. Fluency in English is a must, as working language at the IAEA is English. The other official language, such as Arabic, Chinese, French, Russian, and Spanish, is an asset. We also look for candidates for ability to work effectively in multidisciplinary and multicultural teams, as well as ability to communicate effectively. Aside from hiring highly qualified and experienced candidates, the IAEA offers job opportunities for young professionals under a Junior Professional Officer program. The program is designed for young professionals who are below the age of 32 years and are national of a member state that currently has a JPO agreement with the IAEA. The duration of JPO assignment is typically 1 to 2 years, and the purpose of the program is not only to give young professionals an opportunity to gain work experience in an international environment, but also to provide the IAEA with additional expertise. The JPO works as a part of the team and under the guidance of a senior professional in either a scientific, technical, or administrative field. Vacancies are usually announced once or a few times a year by the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of the respective countries. Usually the candidate would apply to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and then in the later stage be assessed by the IAEA. So let's look at the internship program next. The IAEA accepts a limited number of interns each year. In order to be eligible for the internship program, applicants must be at least 20 years of age and have completed at least 3 years of full-time studies at the university or equivalent institution towards the completion of their first degree. Individuals may apply up to 1 year after the completion of their bachelor's, master's, or doctorate degree. Applications submitted after that time frame will not be considered. Applicants must not have previously participated in the agency's internship program. Working knowledge of English is essential for IAEA internships. Knowledge of another official languages, such as Arabic, Chinese, French, Russian, or Spanish, is an asset. Interns should be able to adapt to an international, multicultural, and multilingual environment and have a good communication skill and be able to work in a team. The duration of internship normally range between 6 months and 1 year. Interns are subject to authority of the Director General and need to observe all applicable rules, regulations, instructions, and procedure of the agency. Interns are selected from candidates whose study discipline are relevant to the agency's work in the following fields: natural science, social science and humanities, engineering, information technologies, and administration.
Over to you, Christine. Thank you.
Okay. So many of you who are attending this job fair are interested in pursuing international careers. My advice is for you to be open to new challenges. There are many different paths to an international organization. So be open and to consider to develop required experience and skills through internships, through consultancies, through experts, through fellowships. Additionally, you can gain more experience at NGOs, national laboratories, or even from the private sector before joining an international organization. The more flexible you are with location, different contract types, different types of work opportunities, the more career opportunities will be available to you. You will have to maintain your career focus and ensure that all of these are leading to your overall long-term career aspirations. The selection process at an international organization is pretty competitive, as we receive hundreds of applications globally. The process can take a longer time, Therefore, do not be discouraged and stay positive. Make sure you are applying to the job that fits your professional background and career interests. The next slide, we will talk about the recruitment process at the IAEA. The recruitment process at the IAEA, like in many other international organizations, as I had mentioned earlier, will take a longer time than the private sector. This is mainly due to the fact that we are recruiting from a diverse and qualified pool of applicants that apply from all around the world, and that multiple stakeholders need to review as well as endorse the selections. So we will notify all applicants on the outcome once the process is completed. So what you see on this slide is what we call our recruitment funnel. As you can see here, there are a lot of different steps from when you first see the vacancy notice online until the selection of a candidate. I will briefly cover each step in the following slides and encourage you to check out our employment webpage where we have dedicated webinars for you to learn more about each step of this process. So let's start initially with the application review. Usually our job openings are open for a period of 4 weeks for both professional and general service positions. Deadlines may vary, however, so always make sure to review the vacancy notice carefully and apply prior to the deadline. We will only consider online applications completed using IAEA's applicant tracking system. Once your application is received, it will be carefully reviewed. At this stage, the competition is fierce as many applicants have applied on a global level, and those who possess similar backgrounds are also applying to the same specific position. It is important for you to take the time to plan and prepare a strong application that will help you stand out. So once you've submitted your application, what happens next? The first step in our recruitment process is called the application review. During this step, our hiring managers and human resources will review all the applications received through our online application portal. The managers will assess the applications against the requirements listed on the vacancy notice. Only shortlisted candidates will be contacted for the next steps of the recruitment process. So the next slide, we will touch a little bit in terms of the application checklist. As it is a very competitive process, as mentioned earlier, it's really important for you to take the time to plan and prepare. The checklist provided on this slide may be useful for you to ensure that your application is completed thoroughly and provide us with the relevant information in order for us to better assess your suitability for the position. Okay. So let me just quickly cover with you the checklist. Number 1, make sure you plan your application in advance. So it's really important that you plan so that you can submit your application way before the deadline. Dedicate time to study and understand the vacancy announcement or notice. Review your profile in relation to the vacancy. Complete and update all sections appropriately. Outline responsibilities in your own words in a concise and simple manner. Make it easy for the recruiters as well as the hiring managers to find the information and to understand what you can offer to IAEA. Prepare a professionally drafted motivation letter and take time to respond to the filter questions asked. So now let's move to the next slide, which talks a little bit in terms of written technical assessments. The written technical assessment provides questions that are specific to the position. This is used to evaluate whether the candidates have the required knowledge and competencies in relation to the vacancy they've applied for. The assessment is conducted online with limited period of time to complete the assessment. There are varied types of questions usually asked in these type of assessments. This can range from open-ended or maybe even case studies. So let me give you an example of some written technical assessment sample questions. So here listed are 3. Number 1, describe at least 4 main project level risks for achieving project objectives. Number 2, please review the attached security assessment report of a hypothetical facility. Please review this report and identify any deficiencies that you have observed. And our third example would be, what are the greatest strategic challenges and opportunities for the IAEA in the area of nuclear verification? So let's have a look at the panel interview setup and what you can expect when you're invited for an interview. Nearly all interviews are conducted via video conferencing platforms because it offers so much flexibility to both the candidate as well as the panel. As a candidate, it's important to ensure that you have good internet connection. However, please note that there's always technical support available provided by the IAEA. You will be invited to test the video conference prior to the interview. Make sure to get online early enough so that we can work out any technical issues before the scheduled start of the interview. Interviews are usually scheduled to last around 45 minutes to 1 hour, and on average, each interview has about 7 questions. Usually, there are a minimum of 3 interviewers on the panel, but on average, we have about 5 members. The panel consists of the hiring manager who is chairing the interview process. Most likely, there would be a technical expert for the subject matter who assess and advise on the technical abilities of the candidate. A member external to the department, as well as a HR representative, will also be present to facilitate the recruitment process and to ensure that the process is fair and consistent with the agency's rules and regulations. In the end, you will be provided with some HR administrative information, and you will also have time to ask your questions. At the IAEA, we use competency-based interviewing technique as part of the interview process. Hence, it is useful for you to prepare to share your previous experiences. In addition, as you apply for an international civil service position, we advise that you read through the Standards of Conduct document. These resources are available on the IAEA website, so make sure to take advantage of these resources. So, looking at the next slide, as the interview time is limited, try to respond in a straightforward and concise manner. You can apply the STAR methodology, where you will explain the situation, task, action, results, and lessons learned or reflections. Okay? It is important to prepare and practice as much as you can. And a good starting point for preparation is to learn about the organization, the position details in the vacancy notice. It is also important for you to understand that working for the IAEA means working as an international civil servant. Hence, you should be familiar again with the standard of conduct that can be found on our employment website. Make sure, of course, to review your application and select real life examples to match your achievements to the competencies listed on the vacancy notice. Remember, the more you practice, the more you'll feel comfortable, the better you will do during this step. If you would like to learn more about this process, please listen to our previous webinars recording of preparing a job application for the IAEA, where we again will walk you through to understand all aspects of our vacancy announcement so you can put your best foot forward during the interview process.
Where to find further information? We're projecting our main website, the www.iaea.org/employment. Here, this is a great starting point to find out more. Our employment webpage has all the information you would need to find out more about the working at the agency, applicant resources, and our current vacancies. When you click to see our current vacancies, this is the page you'll be directed to. It is quite easy to use, so on your left-hand side, you'll see different filters that you can quickly filter through to find the position that best matches your background and your interest. This is a dynamic list of postings, so make sure to come back periodically to make sure that you're capturing all of the positions available at the IAEA.
As you can see on this slide, we would want you to stay connected with us. So the IAEA uses LinkedIn to connect with the broader audience who are interested in the work of the IAEA. On our LinkedIn page, we update all our news and projects that the IAEA is involved in. We also advertise many of our vacancies using LinkedIn, as well as promote our upcoming webinars on recruitment topics. So please, we encourage you to follow us on LinkedIn and connect with the recruitment officers at the IAEA. You'll be able to stay informed and connected with the latest updates and happenings at the IAEA. In addition to this, the recruitment unit also sends out monthly newsletters to our subscribers. This is a very convenient way to get the recruitment news and open vacancies at the IAEA directly into your inbox. So make sure to subscribe by visiting the link on the slide. Finally, we host monthly webinars on recruitment topics, and it also gives you a chance to also sometimes meet our team members, or perhaps even staff members working at the IAEA. All our past webinars are recorded and are uploaded on our IAEA website. These are great resources for job seekers to understand the IAEA recruitment process and learn more about the job opportunities that we offer. Past topics include competency-based interviewing, job opportunities with safeguards, women at the IAEA, internship opportunities, and more. This brings us to the end of our presentation, and we hope that you have learned more about working at the IAEA. And on behalf, I thank you for your time, and let me hand it over to Shuri as well.
It was a pleasure being here today. Thank you for joining. Thank you.
개발도상국의 농업 생산량을 늘리기 위해 재정 지원을 목적으로 설립된 국제기구 IFAAD 국제농업개발기금의 리차드 아이엘로 인사부서 치프님입니다.
Hello and welcome to the International Fund for Agricultural Development, IFAAD, the only specialized agency of the United Nations that is also an international financial institution. IFAAD was established in 1977 as an outcome of the 1974 World Food Conference. IFAAD invests in poor rural people living in developing countries to eliminate poverty, hunger, and malnutrition, raise productivity and household incomes, and improve the quality of rural people's lives. At the end of 2019, IFAAD had 205 projects ongoing in 93 countries across 5 regions for a total investment of just over $7 billion. Every IFAAD project focuses on one or more thematic area. All IFAAD projects include a component for climate, gender, nutrition, and youth.
A world without poverty, a world without hunger. The Sustainable Development Goals hold up the promise of a radically different and better future that leaves no one behind. But poverty runs deepest in remote rural areas, and feeding the world's hungriest people starts with those who grow food. Smallholder farmers grow up to 80% of the food in sub-Saharan Africa and parts of Asia. But they too are among the world's poorest people. The promise of a world without poverty and hunger is in their hands and yours.
I would like to thank IFAAD for its constant and intense commitment to improve living standards in rural areas, which are home today to the majority of people living in poverty.
Supported by contributions from concerned governments across the world, IFAAD, the International Fund for Agricultural Development, has been working to realize the promise of the SDGs before they were ever imagined. For more than 40 years, we've been there, in some of the world's most remote locations, increasing yields, connecting farmers to markets, providing access to rural finance, developing better infrastructure, and mitigating the effects of a changing environment. Through our projects, we help small farmers modernize and commercialize their operations, and in the process, we empower women and young people and transform rural lives.
Before joining the project, we were waiting for money from our husbands. But since we started this group, we have a way to earn a living. Every 2 weeks, we receive the payments from sales, and now we are able to look after the needs of our families. We are so happy to have this job.
We offer practical and innovative solutions to trigger rural growth. And to date, we have invested more than $21 billion in loans and grants to do just that, improving the lives of around 500 million people in almost 100 countries.
They helped us set up a business plan. They organized a field study trip and put us in touch with other cassava producers so that we could share information and techniques. They do so many things for us, I can't even remember all of them.
At IFAAD, we believe that investing in people like her is the only way to ensure food security and sustainable development. And with support from equally committed partners, governments, private sector, foundations, NGOs, the impact of our work is greater still.
IFAAD has the knowledge, the capabilities, the people on the ground, and we on our side can bring in the market, guarantee supply, bring in quality standards, soil management techniques that we know for our crops. We can have a sustainable solution.
But the challenges run deep. Climate change, conflict, inequality, and lack of political will can dash the hopes of a new generation and test the world's resolve to bring about lasting change. But we can't stop now. A world without hunger, a world without poverty is in our hands and within our grasp.
Career opportunities in IFAAD. Staff, junior professional officer, consultant, and interns. There are 3 categories of fixed-term staff. Professionals are hired internationally and considered international civil servants, who may be expected to move between duty stations at any time depending on the needs of the organization. National professional officers are recruited locally in the country of assignment and perform professional level functions. General serve staff are recruited locally but could be of any nationality and are not expected to move duty stations. IFAAD looks for people who focus on results with integrity and professionalism, while respecting and promoting diversity. We want dynamic and adaptable women and men who are not afraid to be creative, proactive, flexible and responsive, and who are fair, impartial and honest. IFAD's strength lies on the diversity of its workforce. We value professionals with strategic visions, a proven capacity to work in teams and generate results, and a deep understanding of and strong commitment to international development. To become a professional staff member at IFAD, candidates need a master's degree in a discipline relevant to IFAD's work, analytical evaluation and communication skills, the ability to weigh issues and consequences when taking decisions, theoretical knowledge as well as practical experience, and the willingness to work anywhere in the world.
Junior professional officers are sponsored by IFAD member states interested in investing in young university-trained nationals. The program provides opportunities for selected candidates to work for 2 years at IFAD, contributing to IFAD's mission while learning about the organization, its operations, the development context, and of course the United Nations as a whole. JPOs at IFAD have been growing exponentially over the last years. In 2017, we had 11 JPOs from 5 sponsoring donors, 4 of which assigned to IFAD country offices. We now have 20 JPOs from 9 sponsoring donors, of which 7 are assigned to country offices, and the JPO numbers are growing even more. To apply for a JPO position, you must be 35 years old or younger, hold a first-level university degree, have at least 3 years of post-degree professional experience, and be fluent in English. If you meet these requirements, you can apply through your government. Consultants are independent contract holders engaged for specific tasks or projects of limited duration with clearly measurable results. They represent the biggest demography in IFAD, with more than 300 consultancy contracts issued every month, and they play a critical role in the execution of IFAD's mandate and its impact on the ground. Consultancies are designed for junior and senior experts to provide specialized expertise or technical advice at a level equivalent to the professional and higher level categories, in areas where their knowledge is acquired temporarily or where those specific skills do not exist at IFAD. Qualification and experience in the relevant field are required and vary depending on the assignment. IFAD's regular and enhanced internship programs offer a 3 to 6 month learning experience in an international work environment to students specializing in areas relevant to IFAD's mission. Candidates must be enrolled in university or graduate school, have attended courses in the last 12 months, and completed at least 2 years of undergraduate studies or recently completed undergraduate or postgraduate studies. They must be fluent in English and be 30 years old or younger. The enhanced internship program is designed to attract talented young professionals with a view to enhancing geographical distribution and diversity at IFAD. It is open to candidates who are not residing within commuting distance from IFAD headquarters in Rome and IFAD liaison offices. In addition to a monthly allowance, enhanced interns receive also small housing and travel allowance. If you are then willing to come work at IFAD, show us your motivation and enthusiasm. Do your research and become familiar with IFAD through our website and social media. Get a solid understanding of IFAD goals, with whom and where we operate. Read the vacancy advertisement carefully and be ready to adapt to IFAD organizational needs even beyond your area of expertise, and to bring and share innovative technical knowledge. Because, most of all, IFAD values synergies, team dynamics, and technical interchanges.
IFAD offers a wide range of employment opportunities. There are areas of work that you would typically expect in an international organization, like business administration, general administration, accounting, budgeting, IT, audit, oversight, ethics, procurement, law, monitoring and evaluation, and so on. But there are also areas that you would expect in an organization like IFAD, an international financial institution focused on agricultural development. Here we have areas such as rural development, natural resource management, infrastructure development, financial risk management, nutrition and food security, private-public partnerships, development economics, and so on. So there's a little bit for everyone, and I'm sure you'd find your fit at IFAD. The recruitment process is comprehensive, rigorous, and competitive. Human resources experts and the hiring division review applications to sort out candidates who meet the minimum requirements. Long-listed candidates are invited to undergo telephone interviews and/or a written exam. Shortlisted candidates are invited either in person or via Skype to hold a presentation and undergo an interview with a panel of HR and technical experts. When preparing your application to IFAD, it's important to follow a couple of steps, and these are the steps you can expect to be part of the interview process. At first, you need to analyze and understand the vacancy announcement thoroughly. Look at the key responsibilities, look at the competencies that are required for that position, look at the minimum requirements in terms of education and work experience. Once you're certain that you meet these minimum requirements and that you can meet and fulfill the key responsibilities outlined in the vacancy announcement, you can continue and complete your personal history form. Here it's of course important that your personal contact information be up to date, your academic qualifications reflected, as well as your work experience and professional certification. Here I would give you the hint to really tailor your personal history form also to the position that you're applying for. Take a look at that vacancy announcement and see how you can fit your work experience and how you can describe your work experience in terms that would, of course, relate to the vacancy announcement. The next step in the process after you have submitted your personal history form and your application is the pre-screening assessment. The pre-screening assessment is usually either a Sonru video assessment or a written technical assessment. The written technical assessment is, as the name already says, is a written test and will seek to test you on certain aspects of the job that you're applying for. The Sonru video assessment is a particular type of mini interview, if you want to call it that way, in which you're asked to respond to a certain number of questions and you are recorded while you're answering the questions. A group of IFAD staff will then review your recorded video interview at a later time. After you have passed these pre-screening steps, so either the video assessment or the written test, or maybe also both of them, you may be invited to a competency-based interview. The competency-based interview is a live event, so it's not recorded anymore like Sonru, but it takes place live, and is an interview to assess a candidate's performance in a particular area or skill. And we're going to go into that in a second. Competency-based interview questions follow the STAR method, and I'll get to that in a second. And interviewers ask questions to determine whether candidates have the skills and experiences required to excel in the job. The theory is that if you performed something well in the past, you can succeed at it again in the future. For each interview question asked, you need to provide a specific example that matches the competencies being assessed. The response method IFAD expects, as I already mentioned earlier, is the STAR method. Situation, task, action, result. For each question asked, you'll have 5 minutes or a little bit less to describe the context within which you performed a job or faced a challenge. Describe your responsibility in that situation. Describe how you completed the task or endeavored to meet the challenge, and explain the outcome or result generated by the action taken. If you succeeded, emphasize what you accomplished. If you did not succeed, emphasize what you learned and how you would do it differently if faced with the same situation.
안녕하세요. IFAAD Office of Audit and Oversight에서 Head of Investigation 섹션을 맡고 있는 김상우입니다. 저희 부서는 감사부와 감찰부로 구성되어 있고 IFAAD 내부 감사와 감찰뿐만 아니라 IFAAD에서 지원하는 각국 프로그램의 예산 집행에 대한 감사와 감찰도 담당하고 있습니다. 저희는 직무와 관련해 독립된 지위를 갖고 있으며 저는 감찰부장으로서 감찰부를 책임지고 있습니다. 감찰부의 주요 업무는 부정부패 수사, 직원 직무 감찰입니다. IFAAD에서 집행하는 수조 원대의 예산이 잘 집행되기 위해서는 이를 잘 감시하고 문제가 있을 경우 수사하고 빨리 대응하는 게 중요한데 저희 부서가 이와 관련해 중추적인 역할을 하고 있습니다. 예를 들어 IFAAD에서 차관을 지원하는 어느 나라의 프로젝트 집행팀에서 부정부패가 있을 경우 저희 부서가 이를 철저히 수사하고 그 결과에 따라 관련된 회사나 사람들을 징계하고 문제 금액을 회수하며 해당 나라의 수사기관과 연계하여 그곳에서 형사수사가 진행될 수 있도록 지원합니다. 국제기구의 커리어와 관련되어 감사 감찰 분야는 약간 다른 특징을 갖고 있습니다. 저희 부서는 독립성과 공정성을 중요시하므로 한 기구에 오래 있으며 그곳에서 커리어를 키우기보다는 다른 국제기구의 감사 감찰 분야로의 이동이 더 빈번합니다. 저 역시도 우리나라에서 약 10년 정도의 경력을 갖고 2005년도에 국제기구 커리어를 시작하여 지금까지 4번 기구를 옮겼습니다. 하지만 일반적으로 한 국제기구에 입사하여 그곳에서 커리어를 키우는 경우가 더 많습니다. 이 경우 그 국제기구가 IFAAD처럼 내부 심사를 통해 승진의 기회를 제공한다면 더욱 좋겠죠. 제가 국제기구에 관심이 있는 분들에게 드리고 싶은 말씀은 항상 도전을 두려워하지 말고 꿈을 향해 달리라는 것입니다. 나이가 젊을 때는 고생은 사서 한다는 말과 같이 현재가 편안하더라도 항상 자기 자신을 변화시키며 꿈을 향해 때로는 무모하더라도 그 미래를 선택하여 나아가야 한다는 것입니다. 현재가 아무리 편안하다 하더라도 본인의 꿈이 국제기구에서 일하는 것이라면 그 꿈을 위해서 현재를 버릴 준비가 되어 있어야 합니다. 이는 여러분들이 후에 국제기구에 입사한 후에도 마찬가지입니다. 본부에 근무하면서 필드에 정말 하고 싶은 자리가 있을 때 망설이지 말고 선택해야 합니다. 이러한 필드 경험은 후에 여러분이 매니지먼트 레벨이 될 때 꼭 필요한 경험이기도 합니다. 국제기구에 일하면서 항상 그런 생각을 합니다. 저의 실제 보스는 국제기구의 수혜를 받는 분들이라고요. 그분들은 저희의 원조가 절실하고 대부분 저희의 지원 없이는 살아가기 힘든 분들입니다. 그러한 분들을 생각하면 그분들을 위해서 내가 현재 자리에서 어떻게 일을 해야 할지 명확하게 알 수 있습니다. 꿈, 무모한 도전, 그리고 사명감을 항상 마음에 담고 국제기구 준비를 잘 하시길 바랍니다. 그럼 좋은 결과 있기를 기원합니다.
교육, 과학, 문화의 보급과 교류를 통해서 국가 간의 협력 증진을 목적으로 설립된 국제연합전문기구 유네스코의 로젤라 셀비아 인사부서 코디네이터님입니다.
Yes, I'm Rossella Salvia. You probably read my name. I'm Italian, and I've been here for 26 years after some years in the private sector, actually, 10 years in the private sector. So maybe we get to a short video about UNESCO, a 3 minutes video that will give you an overview of what UNESCO is all about in better images and better words. Thank you.
The world needs more education, sciences, and culture to find sustainable solutions to the challenges of today, to build peace, combat climate change, and end extreme poverty. We must focus on innovation, creativity, and new ideas. We need to share knowledge so as to move forward. Every day, UNESCO trains and supports researchers, teachers, journalists, and artists to inform and educate, open our minds, and foster respect. Since 1945, UNESCO has acted as a laboratory of ideas, imagining tomorrow's world, building peace in the minds of men and women. Today, our mission is more relevant than ever. helping 260 million out-of-school children and young people get an education, and teaching skills to nearly 800 million adults worldwide, 2/3 of them women, who can neither read nor write. We need to act now to protect human rights and dignity. The United Nations has defined 17 goals to achieve sustainable development by 2030. To succeed, we must invest in the forces that drive sustainable change. Train 70 million new teachers and ensure everybody can receive quality education. Ensure the transmission of heritage to new generations and embrace cultural diversity so that we may understand and respect one another. Defend freedom of expression and access to information. Strengthen scientific cooperation to protect our planet and its ocean. To achieve these pressing goals, we need to build bridges and stronger partnerships with governments, businesses, civil society and citizens. Join us today in turning these goals into reality. Together, let's mobilize our collective intelligence and bring out the best in our shared humanity.
Excellent. So we showed you this 3 minutes video because it's the best way to have really in a few seconds an idea, an overview of what UNESCO is all about, all the domains, all the type of programs and the challenges that it's facing to address the several problems in the world. But since we are at university here, I want to show you also where is UNESCO located in terms of structure within the United Nations system. As you probably know and studied, United Nations were created, on the ashes of the Second World War. UNESCO in particular was created and it started in UK, and then headquarters became in Paris. It started in 1945 and then became operational when 20 member states signed the Constitution in 1946. Now you will see it, Dacian here will show us the red little thing where we can see where UNESCO is actually located in the voila. That's UNESCO together with other what we call sister agencies. You know, the United Nations Secretariat is in New York, UNESCO is here in Paris, FAO is in Rome, ILO is in Geneva. FAO Rome means food and agriculture, ILO it means labor, WHO, you hear a lot about it, is about health, and we are here for education, science and culture programs to build peace in the minds of men. The point I want to make with these slides is that, as you can see, the United Nations is a very articulated system. The main difference, I would say substantive difference between all of us is that some of us have member states direct governance, member states who tell us what to do and pay for that. Other colleagues that work in program and funds, such as the World Food Program, the colleagues who won the Nobel Prize the other day, the colleagues of UNHCR, the colleagues of UNICEF, they work in organization funds who are mostly called to work on crises and emergencies, and they are not implementing programs as we do for any type of situation, peace or war, I mean, good times and bad times. When UNESCO deals with education, as you know, and we saw it so well during this COVID time, affects the richest countries of the world as much as the poorest country of the world. Of course, the poorest country of the world will suffer more. But education, culture, sustainability, these are all the topics that are important to any country that we have to take care of forever, and not just in moment of crisis, tsunami, or wars. It's there forever. So that's one of the main difference. The other one is, in fact, the funding. We have permanent funding, which is provided by member states by the fact of being a member of UNESCO. So, and they contribute to the budget of UNESCO with the money paid by their citizen through taxes. Okay, whereas it's systematic, let's say. So it's not negotiable. If you are that country with that type of richness, you pay so much, okay? With the other programs and funds, I think there is more of a voluntary contribution the countries can give depending on their situation, their willingness, and the emergency of the situation. So this is in a nutshell to explain how then this also has an impact to the type of people we are recruiting, because if you are a staff of UNESCO, you will need to be more of a policy maker. If you are a staff for UNHCR or WHO or IOM on migration, you probably need to be more action-oriented, be able and to stay and move quickly in hardship duty station, and it's a completely different set of skills and situation that you have to have and you have to face. Let's go to the next slides to give you some more information about our internal governance. Still we are about UNESCO, because maybe I have to change here as well. Voila. So, since war begins in the minds of men, it is in the minds of men and women that the defense of peace must be constructed. This is our motto, which means that UNESCO has an intellectual mandate that has to be dealt by the highest intelligence of the world. We are here to have a mission to be accomplished in these different domains, which is education, natural sciences, social and human sciences, and culture and communication and information. So what we do is in the minds of men and women, and it's not always so visible, such as building something in a developing countries, or moving people, moving refugees, or take care of children. It's less concrete than that, and on the other hand, it's much more long-lasting, because it builds the premises and for mankind and sustainability. We have 193 member states. There are certain member states who decided to leave UNESCO a few years ago. Still, we have 2,000 staff. Half of them are here in the field, here in Paris, and others are in the 53 field offices. And there are a little bit all around the world. We will see that later. Even if we have 193 member states, there are still 171 nationalities that are present. So we completely miss certain representative, let's say, national for certain countries. Science Po, I was given the statistics. You are 147 nationalities there in Science Po, and and that's why also we're very interested to meet you, is because there are at least, I think, 30 nationalities that in fact are not represented among your people. Nationalities are not represented or little represented. Like, for instance, China is very little represented at UNESCO, even if it's the highest contributor. Just to give you an example, Qatar is not represented at all. Saudi Arabia is underrepresented. So you will find this type of information in our website. But nationality for us is an important thing because we are an intergovernmental organization, but also because we are based on diversity. Diversity is our richness, okay? A last word I want to say, it's about the women of UNESCO, the fact that we comply with the indication to be gender parity, and we have 50% of women at the professional level, but even at the director level. So this is very important because it's very unique. Even in the United Nations system, there are not many agencies who are managed to reach this objective. Here we are with our governing bodies, the General Conference and the Executive Board, the Director General. Since we are in France, we want to speak about Audrey Azoulay. She is our Director General. She was appointed 2 years ago. And she used to be the Minister of Culture. I think she's one of the youngest Director General UNESCO has ever had. And she's very committed. She recently went, for instance, to Beirut to see how UNESCO can contribute to the rebuilding of what happened in Lebanon. And she's called to represent UNESCO, of course, in the different instances. She went to New York recently also to participate in the General Assembly, in the water assembly and meeting. So it's of course the ambassador of UNESCO all over the world. But then we have the Secretariat. The Secretariat is this very, let's say, boring word to define the staff of UNESCO, to define the people of UNESCO. When I arrived here, my first drafting a letter or something, I spoke about these people of UNESCO, and I was told that we don't have people of UNESCO, we have the staff of UNESCO. So I understood that I moved from the private sector where I was to another type of organization where, you don't have people, you have staff. And yet, if you read the constitution of UNESCO, they will say that we are here to serve the people of the world, to underline that we are there not to also just serve the government, but really the people, the citizen, the people of the mankind. So for me, this is very important. All of us, it's very important that we never forget that we are, human beings in a world. Let's move to the next slides. This is really our organization chart. So we said Director General. Actually, if you go with me with your arrow, voila, Director General is the head we just mentioned with her cabinet. The Deputy Director General is Chinese. But then we move quickly to the heart of the organization: the education, natural sciences, social human sciences, culture, and communication. And each of them has different focus, but all of them, anyway, focus on standard setting of action. It could be the tsunami in the Oceanographic Commission. It could be the inclusiveness of girls' education and gender. It can be the water sciences in the natural sciences, freedom of expression and communication as far as the communication sector, but also access to media. Social and human sciences, you will see is also more directly if you attend the meeting, the webinar with Gabriela Ramos, who just arrived from OECD. It's about habitat, it's about social transformation, it's about ethics of science. So you will hear more of what we do in this type of situation. You will be given the chance to meet Stefania Giannini, the head of education sector, to really see what we are doing and what we did to, for instance, cope with these education issues during these COVID times. But then you will see later today the sector of administration and management, because if the program sector is the heart, then you need colleagues like me and Deshian here in human resources, people working in finance, people working in security, risk management, safety, but also the maintenance, to maintenance all these buildings in Paris, but also in our field offices to make it work. So if the program is the heart of the organization, then you need, the bones, the nervous system, the blood, And these are the colleagues working like us in human resources inside the organization. Now, in my case, I have a lot of opportunity to also get outside, but normally we are here as services for the people really working in programs that are the people working in those sectors that we mentioned. I want to give you another slide about our field offices here, because the field offices are those really close to our member states. So they can either take care of a national, meaning they are national offices for working for one country, or they are there to take care of a cluster of country, or somehow some of them have a regional competence, for instance, for education, or for science, or for culture. So this is another dimension of UNESCO, which for me, it's even the probably most interesting one, when you really see action in progress, when you really work hand in hand with member states to address all our programs. This is how UNESCO is working and how do you say, related to the Sustainable Development Goals. Maybe I will not, because I want to leave room also for questions. I will not spend too much time because I think they can find the PowerPoint also in our website. Again, what is important, and this is more for you in terms of roles that you could play in an organization such as UNESCO, you can be, and you heard it in the film, UNESCO as a laboratory of ideas. So putting together different community and sharing best practices, sharing ideas, sharing policies, being there to analysis, benchmarking, always of these worldwide type of policies. Standard setting means that, for instance, lawyers can be lawyers for a cultural convention, for the World Heritage type of thing, for underwater, but also environmental lawyers, or of course lawyers for staff matters or for member states relationships. So there are profiles that can be fitting in different type of areas of UNESCO. And then there is the strengthening the regional cooperation. So again, in UNESCO, you can be a project manager, a policy developer, a researcher, and you can be all these things at the same time. And then providing advice to our member states. This is also in all the different domains, something that is done systematically. These are the profiles that we are looking for, that we have in terms of our staff. We have associated also them to the different Sustainable Development Goals, the 17 ones. And as you can see, there is a little bit of everything there. And there's something that has to be clear. What we look for is people with a sense of service, because the UNESCO staff, we are international civil servants. So we are not private sector. We are not here to make profits. We are here to improve mankind. So the people whose skills, whose interest is to make profit, to make money, and be this, which is legitimate, well, they don't have a place. Let's say they would not find, they would not be happy with us. But those who want to contribute to a cause, who want to contribute to improve mankind, yet being very professional, very skilled in all these different domains, well, that's the people we're looking for, okay? Let's see also the different talent programs that we have at UNESCO that are addressing either young people, junior people, or people who have already experience and have already maybe even a job possibly in the public sector, but even private sector, because they can reach UNESCO through loans and secondments. So the only word I don't see here, IFAAD, is internship, because interns, it's something that we do have a lot. It's a program that has been ongoing with SciencePo in particular for so many years. There's an agreement that is being signed between UNESCO and SciencePo. There is a specific website that when you go to our website and you have the menu on Join Us, when you click there also you will end up in the internship program. The talent programs here are those that we are really implementing following an agreement between UNESCO and another country, UNESCO and a university, and these are programs where there is a compensation after that. The Young Professional Program, it's the program that allows us to appoint for a career, not for just 1 year or two, the people at UNESCO from non and underrepresented member states. So the Young Professional Program is this, YPP, Young Professional Program. The JPO program, and I asked Deshian to maybe move to the next slide. The JPO program, voila. These are the JPOs of UNESCO. These are the people that are recruited or pre-selected by their countries, such as France, such as all the Europeans, Germany, Italy, Sweden, Finland. And then we also have people from Qatar, from China, from Korea, from Japan, from Saudi Arabia, from Kuwait, Azerbaijan. They are pre-selected by the country and they come and join UNESCO for a few years, paid by the government, but as staff of UNESCO to get this experience and then, being able to apply for positions, of course, either at UNESCO or in the UN system. So they're very similar to the young professional, but their contract is only, let's say, for a couple of years, maximum 4 years. Then we have traineeship, that we have very important agreements established with countries such as China and Canada and Italy and Saudi Arabia. So it's a sort of a fellowship, a scholarship. In fact, with China is signed with Scholarship Council. So the people would come and work with us either in a field office or in UNESCO for 1 year. If there is a good performance, the traineeship can be extended sometimes for a second year. Secondment and loans, I told you, these address and target mostly people with experience with jobs, and they can manage to be seconded or loaned to UNESCO to work for a few years and then bring back the experience to the country. And then we have the United Nations volunteers, unv.org, where any of you can apply to be given the possibility to have a professional experience. UNV is only in field offices and is never in headquarters, and it's a fantastic way, for instance, to participate in electoral missions, to participate in peace building operations, and cooperation on environmental projects and everything. So even if it's called United Nations Volunteers, is actually with the compensation, with a stipend. So I do recommend any of you also to search this type of possibility in the UNV. And then we have a UNESCO Volunteers, which is not, how do you call it? It's not compensated, but gives, it started mostly to give the possibility to those staff who are appointed in field offices have a spouse, to give this spouse the possibility to contribute, to work, to be engaged in something, and yet not having the possibility of being compensated.
네, 이어서 외교부 소관 국제개발협력 NGO인 비소나눔마을 이지희 대표님께서 발표를 이어가 주시겠습니다.
네, 안녕하세요. 사단법인 비소나눔마을의 이지희입니다. 먼저 강연에 앞서서 영상 하나를 보고 시작하도록 하겠습니다.
짝꿍이 스타일 리모트잖아. 짝꿍이 스타일 리모트잖아. 짝꿍이 스타일 리모트잖아.
그러면은 두 분은 이거 뽑아가지고 좀 타고 이제 저쪽 하고 이거 하나 안 받아가지고요. 패치 들어가시겠어요.
짝꿍이 스타일 리모트 사마.
네, 영상 잘 보셨나요? 네. 오늘 2020 국제기구 마이스 커리어페어 네, 이제 마지막 피날레를 제가 강연을 하게 됐는데요. NGO 섹터로는 유일하게 진행을 하기 때문에 저희 기관 소개는 짧게 하고 여러분들께서 실질적으로 궁금해하시는 사항에 대해서 쉽게 말씀을 드리도록 하겠습니다. 네, 먼저 저희 비소나눔마을 한국본부 소개입니다. 비소나눔마을은 비전과 소망을 나누는 마을이라는 뜻으로요. 저희가 2015년도 11월에 외교부 소관으로 설립이 되었습니다. 그래서 앞서 영상 보셨던 대로 전 세계 아이들에게 비전과 소망을 나누자라는 비전과 사명을 가지고 저희가 개발도상국을 중점적으로 해서 교육 지원, 물품 지원, 시설 개선, 그리고 이제 봉사단 파견 사업들도 진행하고 있고요. 현지인들의 직업 개발 훈련, 그리고 이런 다양한 사업들을 진행을 하고 있습니다. 네, 그래서 국내로도 다양한 사업을 하고 있고요. 특히 개발도상국에서는 말씀드렸듯이 교육 물품 이런 사업들을 진행을 하고 또 해외 봉사단 지원 사업, 그리고 기업과 함께 사회공헌 사업도 진행을 하고 있습니다. 또 식수가 필요한 아프리카 지역에는 우물 파기 사업 등 식수 개선 사업, 또 학교 지원 프로그램들을 진행을 하고 있습니다. 네. 그럼 국내 사업을 간략하게 말씀드리겠습니다. 해외 개발협력 NGO라고 해서 국내 사업을 하지 않은 것은 아닙니다. 다만 해외와 국내 사업의 비율이 7대3, 6대4 정도로 이렇게 진행을 하고 있고요. 엄연히 한국인이 하는 사업이고 또 헤드쿼터가 한국에 있기 때문에 국내에도 사업을 진행을 하고 있습니다. 저희 기관 사업으로는 복지 사각계층을 위한 또 미혼모들을 위한 나눔 파티 사업을 진행을 하고 있고요. 그리고 이제 소외계층 아동들이나 그리고 다문화 가정들을 위한 이런 문화예술 지원 사업을 하고 있습니다. 그리고 비전교육 사업 진행을 하고 있고요. 또 청년들을 위해서 선한 영향력을 나눌 수 있는 그런 토크 콘서트 진행을 하고 있고요. 청소년, 청년, 그리고 촬영, 그리고 레크리에이션 봉사단 등을 운영을 하고 있고, 안병동, 소아병동 이런 다양한 곳에 또 웃음치료 사업을 진행을 하고 있습니다. 네, 해외 사업입니다. 마을 비전 결연 사업이라 그래서 개인이 아닌 그 마을 자체와 협약을 맺고 지속 가능하게 마을이 성장할 수 있도록 그런 ADP 사업을 진행을 하고 있습니다. 그리고 인도주의적 사업을 포함해서 또 여러분들이 잘 아시는 이런 해외 봉사가 더 익숙한 것 같은데요. 저희 기관에서는 이것을 해외 봉사로 하지 않고 국제 봉사 캠프라고 명명을 합니다. 뒤쪽에서 조금 더 자세히 말씀드리겠지만 해외 봉사 사업은 아무래도 단기간으로 진행되는 사업은 참여하는 봉사단들이 더 많이 배울 수 있는 그런 교육 프로그램이 된다고 생각을 하기 때문에 그리고 또 더불어서 현지인들도 같이 참여하면서 배울 수 있는 그런 교육 프로그램을 지향하기 때문에 저희는 국제봉사 캠프라고 명명을 해서 진행을 하고 있습니다. 그리고 미디어 직업훈련 사업도 진행을 하고 있는데요. 현지인들의 굉장히 미디어에 대한 소비도 많고 그리고 관심도 많기 때문에 저희 현지에서 잘 활용할 수 있고 직업 소득 증대를 할 수 있는 그런 사업을 캄보디아 같은 경우에는 미디어로 정해서 저희가 중점적으로 사업을 하고 있습니다. 그리고 지역 청년 리더 양성 사업이 있는데요. 뒷부분에서 자세히 말씀드리겠지만 현지인들 중에서 리더를 선발을 해서 현지 마을의 문제점을 직접 찾고 회의를 하고 개선점을 찾아서 활동할 수 있는 그런 사업들을 지원을 하고 있습니다. 그리고 의료 지원 및 위생교육 다양한 또 사업을 진행을 하고 있습니다. 국별로는 네팔 그리고 인도네시아, 베트남 그리고 이제 아프리카 지역으로는 탄자니아, 케냐, 우간다 다양한 지역을 사업을 하고 있습니다. 캄보디아는 아무래도 저희 기관이 첫 번째로 했었던 국이기도 하고 또 외무부랑 정식 협약을 맺고 교육부와 함께 설립을 하고 진행을 하고 있는 국이다 보니까 다양한 사업을 진행하고 있는데요. 여기 보시는 것과 같이 노동부와 같이 산하로 돼 있는 그런 직업훈련 교육에 대한 사업을 진행하고 있고 지방정부 교육청과 같이 또 대학교와 같이 이렇게 협약을 맺고 지속 가능하게 사업을 할 수 있는 방법을 모색을 하고 있습니다. 그 밖에도 다양한 물품 시설 지원이나 우물 정수 활동, 식수 관련된 활동을 진행을 하고 있습니다. 네, 여기는 저희 캄보디아 지부고요. 아이들이 활동할 수 있는 그런 도서관입니다. 그리고 기업 사회공헌 사업도 같이 진행을 하고 있는데요. 대표적으로는 여기 가까이 있는 또 포스코 대우, 네, 지금 이름은 바뀌었지만 그때 당시 같이 인도네시아에서 다양한 교육, 의료 지원 사업, 사회공헌 사업을 협력을 했고요. 그리고 아시아나항공과도 컴퓨터 클래스 지원 사업이라고 해서 컴퓨터를 지원을 하고 개발도상국 중고등학교에 컴퓨터 그런 교실을 열어주고 지원해주는 사업 등, 그리고 이제 고려대 안산병원과 의료협약 사업, 이렇게 다양하게 기업과 기관들과 사회공헌 사업을 진행을 하고 있습니다. 네, 그럼 기관 소개는 여기까지 짤막하게 마치고요. 왜 NGO에서 일하고 싶은가? 라는 질문을 여러분들에게 한번 드려보고 싶습니다. 다양한 이유가 있겠지만 아마도 제가 지금부터 말씀드리는 부분 중에 한 가지 정도는 포함되지 않을까 생각이 드는데요. 네, 아주 굉장히 따뜻한 사진이죠. 눈이 맑은 현지인 아이들과 아이 컨택을 하고 따뜻한 미소를 지으며, 네, 이런 사진, 네, 또 해외에 가서 이렇게 맑은 아이들과 같이 맑게 웃고 있는 그런 사진, 이런 사진들의 외료가 돼서 아무래도 여기에 대한 어떠한 로망, 희망, 그런 것에 대해서 생각을 갖고 있어서 이 계통에 발을 디디는 청년들도 없지는 않을 것입니다. 다라고는 할 수 없지만 경험칙상 비추어 보면은 이렇게 시작되는 청년들이 굉장히 많습니다. 그에 반해서 이 사진은, 네, 현지에 가서 아파서 이제 누워 있는 사진이죠. 여러분 잘 아시겠지만 개발도상국에는 이제 다양한 식수 위생이라던가 아니면 병원의 의료 시설의 그 질이 좋지 않기 때문에 이렇게 다쳤을 때 작은 병이라도 바로 치료를 하지 못해서 증세가 또 악화되는 경우들도 많습니다. 그래서 이제 국내에서 오랜 기간 동안 훈련을 받고 현재 파견돼도 가자마자 어떤 질환이 생겨서 바로 한국에 후송되어 있는 경우도 많고요. 작은 염증이지만 재빨리 치료하지 못해서 현지에서 그것이 커지는 경우도 많습니다. 네, 그리고 손인데요. 네, 제 손입니다. 네, 물론 지금은 그렇지 않고요. 한 5년 전쯤인가 우간다에서 밖에서 하루 종일 했었던 사업이 있었는데요. 그때 하루 만에 손이 이렇게 그라데이션이 지면서 마치 장갑 낀 것처럼, 네, 이렇게 탔습니다. 거의 화상 수준이죠. 많은 수인성 질환 그리고 다양한 병원에 가는 일들, 피부 관련된 그런 질환들이 현지에서도 생길 수가 있죠. 아무래도 열대 지방이 많다 보니까 그 뜨거운 태양빛에 이런 손상들도 많이 가는 일이 있습니다. 그래서 여러분들이 이러한 NGO, 특별히 이런 개발협력 사업을 진행하는 NGO에서 일을 하고자 한다면 이유와 목표 설정을 분명하게 하셔야 됩니다. 파란색 글씨에 있는 것처럼 따뜻한 사람, 왠지 여러분들이 현지에서 사업을 하면서 현지인들과 또 아이들과 사진을 찍어서 그거를 페이스북, 인스타그램, 카카오톡 이런 데 올렸을 때 지인들이 보통 그렇게 보죠. 아, 너 참 따뜻한 사람이구나. 너 참 나눔을 실천하는 사람이구나. 이런 이미지도 있을 수 있겠고요. 그리고 네, 영어로 소통하는 거. 아무래도 해외에서 사업을 하다 보니까 영어는 이제 기본적으로 하면서 가슴에 이제 태극기를 딱 달고 사업을 하다 보니까 뭔가 한국 대표인 것 같은 그런 자부심, 애국심이 들면서 다양한 해외 업무를 하면 또 비행기도 많이 타죠. 그에 반면에서 빨간색 부분에 보면은 박봉과 주말 근무, 이건 꼭 국제 무대에서 사업을 하는 NGO뿐만이 아니라 국내 NGO라고 하면 여러분들 보편적으로 갖고 있는 시각 같기도 합니다. 지금은 이제 시류상 코로나 때문에 진행을 하지 못하지만 곧 있을 연말에는 뭐 후원자의 밤 이런 행사도 NGO마다 다 하고 있고요. 중간중간 이제 해외 사업이나 국내 뭐 봉사 사업, 지원 사업 이런 기업 사회공헌 협력 사업들을 하다 보면은 아무래도 오버타임이 그렇게 수반이 되는 것 같습니다. 그래서 NGO라고 하면 박봉, 주말 근무를 많이 떠올리시는데 급여도 마찬가지입니다. 요새는 이젠 근로기준법이 강화가 돼서 최저임금 미만으로 주는 기관은 거의 없을 거라고 생각을 합니다. 그렇지 아무래도 인건비로 계상되는 재원 자체도 후원자분들의 후원금에서 일정 부분을 계상을 해서 지급이 되는 거다 보니까 아무래도 이렇게 많이 계상을 하지 못하는 부분이 있어서 많이 이런 부분을 떠올리는 것 같습니다. 그리고 이제 개발 현장으로 가다 보면은 말씀드렸듯이 타지 생활, 현지에 가면은 처음엔 좋죠. 이것저것 관광도 하고 구경도 하고 재밌고 새롭고. 근데 이제 인간이다 보니까 가족과 또 친지와 지인들과 떨어지다 보니 이제 외로움이 느껴지게 되고요. 그리고 음식도 잘 안 맞죠. 그리고 식수 위생으로 인해서 다양한 수인성 질병들이 그렇게 생기는 경우들도 있습니다. 그리고 도둑, 현지에서 사업을 하다 보면은 도둑이 이렇게 드는 경우가 많은데요. 굉장히 도둑은 가까운 곳에 있습니다. 왜냐하면은 나의 모든 생활 반경과 모든 것을 놀러 오기도 하니까 알기 때문이죠. 그러면서 수반되는 게 배신. 저 같은 경우에도 현지에서 마음을 주고 모든 걸 주고 잘해줬었던 그런 현지 대상자들에게 배신을 당했던 얘기를 하면 정말 2박 3일 눈물로 얘기해도 모자랄 정도로 그런 일들을 좀 조심한다고 해도 당했습니다. 뭐 모든 현지인들이 다 그런 건 아니고요. 물론 좋은 분들도 많습니다. 그리고 이제 문화 차이입니다. 아무래도 현지는 사회적 경제적으로 많은 부분이 상이하기 때문에 이런 언어에서부터 부딪히게 되죠. 특히 이제 아프리카 지역 같은 경우에는 많은 부족 사회이기 때문에 부족별로 사용하는 언어들이 다 다릅니다. 그리고 뭐 피부 질환이나 뭐 말라리아 이런 거 걸렸을 때 뭐 병원, 의료 시설이 좋지 않기 때문에 낙후가 되었기 때문에 저처럼 대표직을 맡고 있는 사람들은 빚더미, 재정적 어려움도 같이 수반이 되는 경우가 있습니다. NGO는 후원자분들의 후원금으로 이제 운영이 되는 기관인데요. 아무래도 대형 NGO들의 이런 곳에 그런 후원금이 집중이 되다 보니까 저희처럼 크지 않은 단체 같은 경우에는 후원자분들이 거의 없습니다. 그래서 이제 사업을 진행을 하면 할수록 또 저희처럼 개발협력 NGO는 해외에도 이제 책임질 사람들이 점점 많아지는데 이제 후원자의 이런 후원금은 한정되어 있기 때문에 거의 이제 내 주머니에서 나오는 그런 이제 대표를 갖고 있는 분들은 이런 재정적인 어려움까지 이제 수반이 되겠죠. 그래서 이러한 장점도 있고 단점도 있고 제가 말씀드린 것은 그냥 또 단편적으로 약간 재미를 섞어서 말씀드린 거기 때문에 다양한 이유들이 있습니다. 자, 그렇다면 저 같은 경우에도 뭐 사회복지학과를 나온 것도 아니고 그리고 굉장히 뭐 봉사를 되게 많이 하는 그런 착한 사람, 좋은 사람도 아니었습니다. 하지만 저도 인간이기 때문에 제 의도와는 별도로 이렇게 자연스럽게 지금 이 자리까지 오게 됐는데요. 이런 식으로 NGO 국제 무대에 진출한 분들도 있을 것이고 아니면 막연하게 나 하고 싶다. 근데 어떻게 해야 되지? 라는 의문점을 갖고 있는 분들이 있을 것입니다. 그래서 제가 한정된 시간이라 많은 것은 말씀드리지 못하겠지만 대표적으로 굵직굵직하게만 진출하는 방법에 대해서 설명을 드리도록 하겠습니다. 먼저 해외 봉사단이라는 건데요. 지금은 이제 시기상으로 올해 진행 예정이었던 행사들이 다 취소가 됐지만 우리나라는 기업이나 또 학교랑 연계해서 단기 해외 봉사단이 참 많습니다. 그렇기 때문에 정말로 내가 봉사를 하고 싶어서 그 나라에 비전이 있어서 가고자 하는 분들도 계시겠지만 대학생 때, 청년회 때 그냥 스펙으로, 대외 활동으로 호기심에 시작하는 분들도 있을 것입니다. 뭐 이유가 어찌했던 그게 중요한 게 아니라 현지에 일단 가게 되면 많은 것을 깨닫게 되고 현지인들을 바라보면서 이 국제 무대에서 내가 무엇을 어떻게 해야 하는가라는 생각을 갖고 귀국을 하게 됩니다. 그렇기 때문에 여러분들이 이 분야에 대해서 한 번쯤 열망을 갖고 있고 또 청년의 때라면 한 번쯤 이제 코로나 시기가 끝나고 이런 프로그램도 지원해 보신 것도 좋다고 생각을 하고요. 그리고 그 외에도 이제 중기 봉사단, 장기 봉사단 다양한 프로그램들이 있고요. 꼭 청년으로서가 아니라 뭐 시니어 관련된 프로그램도 있고요. 또 ICT 봉사단이라든가 의료라든가 이런 좀 컴퓨터 쪽에 또 잘할 수 있다 그런 관련된 직종의 봉사 프로그램도 많습니다. 그리고 이제 코이카에서 이제 어느 정도 이제 경력을 쌓고 나서 코이카에서 코디네이터도 지금 현재 모집하고 있는 포스터거든요. 이거는 네, 관심 있으면 참고해 주셔도 좋을 것 같고요. 이렇게 해서 현지로 파견되는 경우도 있고요. 또 각 NGO에서도 이렇게 코디네이터로 파견되는 경우가 있으니까 정보 싸움입니다. 네, 굉장히 그런 시작할 수 있는 계기는 많아요. 그래서 여러분들이 막연하게 하고 싶다, 어떻게 해야 하지? 라는 생각이 있을 경우에는 이런 프로그램도 단기, 중기, 장기 프로그램을 한번 활용해 보시는 것도 좋을 것 같습니다. 그 다음에 이제 청년 인턴인데요. 코이카에서는 대표적으로 ODA 영 프로페셔널이라는 인턴 사업을 진행을 하고 있습니다. 이거는 상반기, 하반기에 진행을 하고 있는데요. 지금은 제도가 바뀌어서 처음에는 5개월, 그리고 연장 5개월, 도합 이제 10개월까지 최대할 수 있는 프로그램입니다. 여기 합격을 하게 되면 해외 코이카 사무소나 해외 공간에서 근무도 할 수 있지만 이제 국내에 있는 NGO들에서도 활동을 할 수 있습니다. 저희 기관 같은 경우에도 이 코이카 영 프로페셔널 그 사업을 했었었는데요. 그러면은 저희가 이제 사업 수행 기간이 되면 이제 인턴들이 지원을 해서 저희한테 면접을 보고 합격을 하면 이 코이카 영 프로페셔널 자격으로 근무를 하게 됩니다. 국내에 굉장히 많은 NGO들이 이 사업을 자격이 되면 할 수 있기 때문에 여러분들이 이 사업을 활용해 보시는 것도 좋을 것 같고요. 이거는 어쨌든 해외 파견만 있는 게 아니라 국내에서 근무하는 것도 많기 때문에 지금 하반기 거 아마 모집을 하고 있을 것 같습니다. 여러분들이 잘 찾아보시면은 또 좋은 기회가 될 수 있을 것 같고요. 그 밖에 이제 코트라 같은 데서도 해외 무역관에서 인턴을 뽑는 경우가 있습니다. 그리고 인턴 후에 그 현지에서 뭐 개발도상국을 위한 사회적 기업 창업이라던가 이렇게 다양하게 지원하는 사업들이 있으니 여러분들이 참고하시면 좋을 것 같고요. 그 밖에도 뭐 기업에서의 사회공헌 활동 그리고 뭐 해외 주재원 활동들도 여러분들이 이 계통의 일을 시작할 수 있는 그런 계기가 되지 않을까 싶습니다. 네, NGO는 봉사하는 곳이다. 이렇게 여러분들이 진출 방법을 알고 나름대로 공부를 하고 준비를 해서 NGO에 들어갔어요. 근데 거기서 본인이 생각한 것과 현실 괴리감에 빠지는 경우가 꽤 많습니다. 저도 이제 직원을 뽑다 보면 가끔 이런 직원들이 있어요. 대표님, 저는 봉사가 너무 좋아요. 저는 페이를 주지 않아도 되니까 정말 봉사만 많이 했으면 좋겠습니다. 주말 상관없고요. 지금도 봉사를 하고 있고 비소나눔마을에서 봉사를 할 수 있게 해주세요. 그럼 제가 말합니다. 누구누구 씨, 여기는 봉사하는 곳이 아닙니다. 봉사를 할 수 있도록 지원하는 곳입니다. 그리고 누구 뭐 고용노동부에 잡혀갈 일 있어요? 네, 페이는 드릴 겁니다. 다만 초심을 잃지 않고 열심히 잘 해주시면 고맙겠습니다. 그렇게 하고 채용이 됐습니다. 어떤 남자 인턴이 한 명 있었어요. 열심히 이렇게 근무를 내근직으로 하고 있었는데 한 3주쯤 정도 됐을까? 어느 날 이제 출근을 하지 않는 거예요. 그래서 이제 직원들이 전화를 하고 어디 아픈가? 기다리고 있었어요. 근데 갑자기 이제 저희 책임 간사가 대표님, 제 책상 속에 어떤 편지가 하나 있어요 라고 하더라고요. 그 편지의 내용인즉슨 뭐 어쩌고 저쩌고 저쪽에서 그만두겠다, 뭐 죄송하다, 뭐 이런 내용이죠. 이렇게 봉사를 하고 싶어서 들어온 사람들은 뭐 다른 사람들도 마찬가지일 경우가 있겠지만요, 이런 현실 속에서 일하는 것과 괴리감이 이제 빠진다는 겁니다. NGO는 봉사를 하는 곳이 아닙니다. 봉사를 할 수 있도록 기획을 하고 예산을 짜고 보고서를 작성을 하고 현지에서 어레인지를 하고 다양한 일을 주도하는 역할, 그리고 서포트하고 지원하는 역할입니다. 물론 봉사는 할 수 있겠죠. 뭐 국내나 해외나 봉사가 진행이 됐을 때 옆에서 같이 서포트할 수도 있겠고, 기회가 되면 본인도 현지 가서 봉사를 할 수 있을 것입니다. 근데 전제가 되는 게 행정적인 일이 이제 먼저 진행이 되어야 되는데, 이제 봉사를 하고 싶어서 들어온 사람들, 아니면은 해외 개발협력 현장 사업이라고 해서 해외 파견만 생각을 하고 오는 사람들은 이런 슬럼프의 괴리감에 빠진다는 겁니다. 어쨌든 여러분들이 다른 일도 마찬가지지만 NGO 쪽에서는 3개월, 6개월, 뭐 1년 이 정도 됐을 때 슬럼프가 올 수가 있어요. 하지만 여러분들이 최소한 일하기로 약속한 날들 그리고 근로계약서에 도장을 찍었었던 그 일정까지는 여러분들이 잘 견디고 나보면 내가 이 일이 맞는지 지속해야 되는지 아니면 다른 일이 맞는지 그렇게 결정해야 되는 경우가 있습니다. 앞서서 제가 뒷부분에 말씀드리겠다고 했었던 내용입니다. 비소 CV라고 비소나눔마을 캄보디아 발런티어스라는 이제 뜻인데요. 국제 봉사 캠프는 이제 우리나라 학생들이 굉장히 많은 예산과 많은 준비를 통해서 프로그램을 갖고 현지에 가더라도 일단 문화가 다르고 언어가 다르기 때문에 거의 할 수 있는 게 없습니다. 그렇기 때문에 그런 수많은 사업을 진행을 하면서 현지 사업은 현지인들이 같이 도와줘야 되는구나라는 생각을 늘 갖고 있었기 때문에 저희가 이 사업을 진행할 때는 한국에서 10명이 가면 현지에서도 10명을 똑같이 파트너로 붙입니다. 그래서 현지에서 선발되고 면접을 통해서 인터뷰를 통해서 선발된 이런 대학생들, 청년들이 같이 파트너로 1대1로 붙여서 현지에서 사업을 할 수 있도록 도와주고 있고요. 우리나라 학생이 이제 귀국을 하고 난 다음에는 현지에서 단기적인 이벤트가 되지 않도록 지속 가능한 사업이 될 수 있도록 이 현재 참석했던 1기, 2기, 3기, 4기 이런 친구들을 모여서 이런 조직을 만들고 이 안에서 리더를 만들고 이 친구들이 직접 마을의 문제를 찾아서 해결할 수 있는 그런 활동들을 하고 있습니다. 그래서 마을 리더 양성 사업을 하고 있고요. 이렇게 유니폼들을 제공하면서 소속감도 부여하고 있고 직접 이렇게 마을 대표들과 같이 회의를 하고 문제점을 찾고 그렇게 회의를 주도하고 있습니다. 서 있는 친구는 리더예요. 네. 그리고 작은 일에서부터 이렇게 마을에 있는 너저분이 있는 이런 쓰레기 줍는 일부터 이렇게 실천을 하고 있습니다. 네, 학교에서 저희 이제 배웠던 그대로 위생 교육을 이제 진행을 하고 있고요. 그리고 아이들도 이제 교사들이 뭐 비 오면은 빠지고 아기가 일 있으면 빠지고 막 이런 경우들이 있어요. 그러면 그런 학교 가서 같이 교육도 진행을 하고 이런 다양한 사업을 진행을 하고 있습니다. 그리고 한국에서도 이제 계속적으로 역량 강화 사업을 하기 위해서 이런 워크숍들을 진행을 하고 있습니다. 제가 이제 영상을 하나 보여드릴 건데요. 이 프로그램에 참여했었던 현지 지역 리더 중에 한 명입니다. 한번 이 친구가 영상 속에서 주는 메시지가 여러분들이 조금 이런 활동에 대해서 고민하는 것에 대해서 조금의 답을 주지 않을까 생각이 듭니다.
So Cambodian have Cambodian because I am Cambodian people. That's why my responsibility for the kids. For I don't know, I don't care who they are, they're rich or poor people. But the most important thing, what I can help them, I will help. And the meaning is sharing mean you give something what you help. Example, I have a water. So, and that time, someone have no water also. So what can I do? I mean, I give some, and then I have some. So I very thank you to Korean people that they have a heart to share, even though some things that some problem in Cambodia, they don't care. Yeah, it make me think about this. Why they can do this and why not me? Yeah, I try myself, okay? I have to be patient, work with them, try my best. They can do, I can do. So I will help them until the end. Just open the mind and get something new. That's it, and we will know that what the good things, what the feedback.
네, 물을 갖고 있을 때 내가 소량의 물을 갖고 다른 사람에게 물을 나눠주는 것, 그리고 어려움에 직면을 했을 때 마인드를 열고 하고자 하는 일에 도전하는 것, 이것도 이젠 현지 청년들의 마인드지만 여러분들이 생각하는 이런 걱정과 고민이 많이 다르지 않을 거라 생각이 듭니다. 마지막 질문입니다. 국내에도 소외계층이 많은데 왜 해외까지 도와줘야 하나요? 이 질문은 제가 사업을 하면서 정말 다양하게 많이 듣고 있습니다. 그리고 여러분들도 이 일을 하면 어느 정도 기간이 되면은 많이 듣게 될 것이고 또 여러분 자신에게도 질문을 할 수 있는 시간이 올 것 같습니다. 왜 국내에도 소외계층이 많은데 해외까지 도와줘야 되나요? 사실 답은 없습니다. 하지만 여러분들이 국제 무대에서 활동을 하고 이런 개발협력 NGO에서 활동을 하기 위해서는 이 질문에 대해서 답을 할 수 있어야 될 것 같습니다. 그래서 여러분들이 최소한 이 이 일에 발을 디딛고 이 강연을 듣고 이 커리어페어에 참석한 여러분들은 이런 국제 무대 큰 꿈을 가지고 소망을 가지고 보는 분들이라고 생각을 합니다. 따라서 여러분들 최소한 3개월, 6개월, 1년, 2년 약속한 기간만큼 해당 NGO나 이런 단체에서 활동을 하면서 슬럼프를 이기고 여러분들 정말 하고자 하는 비전과 사명이 여러분 구심점으로 박혀 있었을 때 이 질문에 대한 답을 할 수 있을 때 여러분들이 이런 국제 무대에서 NGO의 일을 할 수 있는 첫 단추가 되지 않을까 싶습니다. 네, 이상 저는 강연을 마치겠고요. 여러분 열심히 잘 도전하셔서 원하는 좋은 일 이루시기 바랍니다. 이상 사단법인 비소나눔마을의 이지희였습니다. 감사합니다.
네, 국제기구부터 NGO까지 모두 10개 기관의 진출 설명에 잘 들어봤습니다. 정보를 쉽게 얻을 수 없는 각 기관의 당담장님께서 참여해 주셔서 국제기구 NGO 진출에 희망하는 여러분들에게 아마 소중한 정보가 되었을 거라 생각이 되는데요. 지금까지 참여해 주신 모든 연사분들께 시청하고 계신 모든 분들 대신해서 감사 인사 전해드리겠습니다. 오늘 얻은 귀중한 정보를 바탕으로 원하는 기간에 꼭 진출하길 저도 응원드리겠습니다. 오늘 준비된 프로그램 어떻게 유익하셨나요? 처음부터 끝까지 함께해 주신 여러분의 노력과 열정이라면 원하는 분야에 분명히 취업하고 성공적인 커리어를 만들어 나가실 수 있을 거라 저도 확신합니다. 많은 채용 박람회 그리고 취업 박람회들이 있는데요. 국제기구 마이스 커리어페어는 커리어페어라고 이야기를 드리고 있습니다. 단순히 직업으로 구직자와의 기업을 연결해 주는 것뿐만이 아니라 모두 함께 발전해내는 과정의 의미를 담아봤는데요. 외교부와 인천광역시 그리고 인천관광공사는 여러분의 커리어 발전에 언제나 함께하고 응원을 드릴 것을 약속드리겠습니다. 긴 시간 함께해 주셔서 감사하고요. 저는 지금까지 사회를 맡았던 아나운서 김소연입니다. 감사합니다.